Hello, couch co-opers, couch potatoes, and couch codependents. On our slow march down to through the last 50 episodes of the Couch Co-op Show podcast, I'm Ian, and on the show tonight, I got Scott, Jared, and Dave.
Hello.
Hey.
And Aaron hopefully will join us in either 10 or 15 minutes, depending on the gamble that Jared on.
Yeah, we're betting on it.
Make that money.
Yeah. No prize will be awarded to the winner.
Just a digital pat on the back.
Just to know that you were better than the other man. Hello, welcome to our podcast. We are the Couch Co-op Show. We are a video game podcast. We are available on all the platforms, and you can find us streaming live right now on youtube.com/MilkmanPictures, and you can also find the video versions here on youtube.com/MilkmanPictures in the future, or you can also find video of it on Spotify. Oddly enough, they do that, but they do a very poor job of, getting our podcast out to the listeners. But that doesn't matter. What matters is we're here to record for you a tasty morsel of entertainment, I hope. But we are collectively in the Portland metro area, and we are going through a heat wave a bit. It's a little 92 degrees, or was today?
Yeah.
When it hit up?
Yeah, it's about 92 degrees in my garage right now.
Got a little warm today. We're beating the heat, I think. Everyone doing okay?
Yeah.
Staying hydrated?
72 degrees in here.
Oh, I've drank so much water today. We don't have central air conditioners in yet.
Oh, we put ours in. We decided to put ours in.
Window unit.
One more day of this hell, and I'll be in the 60s again.
No, 2 more. Monday and Tuesday is supposed to be pretty warm.
Huh.
Good luck, Jared.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was nice knowing you.
Yeah.
We are having a fun-filled. The topic tonight is we're gonna try and decide what the greatest video game generation is tonight. We've picked our top 3. We're gonna vote. Basically, they're gonna share their top 3s with me, and we're gonna vote on them, and we're gonna see where it ranks and which one comes out on top. That will be the Couch Co-op Show greatest generation in all. So I don't know what they've picked. I don't know what I picked. But before we get into that, just quickly, I'm gonna create a new little rant Ian box called Milkman's. What is it? Monologue minute? I don't know. Jared, could you put up a minute on the old clock?
Oh yes, I will pull up a minute.
It probably won't take me that long.
Yeah.
It's
probably fine. You can take as long as you want.
I don't want to. I want it to be. I only want it to be a minute. I don't want it to go over a minute.
I got one minute. Just
you don't want to get too angry.
When you want to begin.
I just want to see the clock. I just want to see the timer. That's all. I just don't want. I know you guys. I know you guys love listening to me talk. So I don't want to talk more than a minute. So let's go.
All right. Well, go for it now.
Right. Yeah. It's been a crazy fucking couple weeks about video games. It's Summer Games Fest right now.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So many games are inundating your mind right now. Like there's a diarrhea of video games coming out. Like who knew that there were that many fucking developers producing video games? On top of that, there's all the fucking Nintendo Switch 2 fucking hype and drama. And like clearly there's fucking free consoles of that out in the wild that you can just go buy. So I don't know. People could have bought them anyway. All I'm saying is I have mass video game burnout. I am so done with. I just don't know why I play video games anymore. Like I'm just. I hope kids are having fun. I hope they like it. But I think I'm ready to tap out. I just have no interest. I can't be bothered with any of it. Good luck to you. Our podcast does not care about video game news. All right, we can move on.
Can I just say one counterpoint to that?
Go ahead, Dave.
I think the 26th of this month, Death Stranding 2 comes out. I wonder what. That's the one bright spot on my horizon because I do feel kind of similar.
It's just so many games. It's just like
if your backlog needs any help, this is like putting the defibrillator on it and just blasting it.
Yeah.
Have you
That
ever
backlog is growing
have
by
you ever-
10 titles a day.
Do you have
Yeah.
a sibling? Have you ever had a summer sibling and you're like, yeah, I need a drink out of the hose, kid. My brother, can you go turn on the hose for me? And you like put it by your mouth, and then he just turns it on and just fucking fills your mouth out. Like, you just choke on water. Like, that is what is happening right now, and it's like endless,
Very accurate.
endless. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So many games.
so many
It's
games.
crazy.
It's wild, and I don't care
Well,
about. I don't care about any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I was mentioning yesterday, like, these game names and company names are coming at you so fast. By the end of whatever you're watching, you don't remember the names of any of them because there's too much. Your
guess I
brain
kinda-
cannot hold that.
I guess I've opened a little bit of a can of a worm here, but there's a game coming out that was on the Xbox showcase from Don't Nod. I know Mappy just beat their last game. I forget what it's called, but there's a new one coming out,
Yeah.
and they go to space and they survive, and they're like, it's like a play. It's like I just played that game. Send Me Earth. What is it, Jared? We both played it.
Deliver Me Mars.
Deliver Me Mars. Deliver Me Earth. Like, I played both those
Thanks.
games.
Or Deliver Us.
Deliver Us, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
oh, so now Don't Nod is taking that game that they already made and remaking it in like a higher. It's like, I've already seen this. I've done this a million times. Why do I need to do this again? Like, do
Yeah.
something new. Like, anyway,
Yeah.
tiring. But that's not what we're here for. This will go down as a generation of just like bloat. Bloat is what I meant. Not GB, bloat.
Yep. And a lot of remakes, remasters.
Remakes, yeah, just
Sequels.
We don't even get that many sequels. I mean, it's
Not
a lot
really.
There's a lot of two. There's a lot of number twos everywhere.
was there?
High on Life 2, Outer Wilds 2.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yes, announced today.
yeah,
You're
just-
correct. You are correct about that.
That was
You are right.
a lot of
about
part
that.
twos.
You are right about that. Previous to that, though, I'm kind of curious about like what was new, what new sequel
Yeah.
came out. I guess Death Stranding 2 is coming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Year of the twos.
Anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. The greatest generation. What going into making or just ranking your generations. This is not so much of a list. This is more about how you rank those games, the importance of those generations, like your top 3. How do you guys like? Did you struggle with this? What was going through your minds?
Well, I started by culling the herd a bit. Like, so obviously the first generation, I'm kind of like, I didn't really experience those. I did play a few Pong games when I was very, very little. But, not something I have, real connection to. Obviously, the 9th generation is still ongoing, so I kind of threw that one out because it's not finished yet. So that got rid of 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
after that, it was like, what,
Who won the
was
bet?
real-
Right, Ian.
really
Yes!
looking
You got
at
it, Ian. Right on the nose.
Thank you, Aaron. You're
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Ian
glad I'm
guessed
your
right.
entertainment.
it was really looking
Jared
at
had you
the-
down for 5 more minutes. I had you at 9:15. He had you at 9:20. I believe in you, Aaron. Remember that.
Eh.
Sorry,
All right,
Dave.
so I'm glad I'm entertainment.
Sorry, Dave.
Once I got rid of the
Alright,
first
continue, Dave.
generation, it's like every other generation I have memories of playing it back in its perhaps the second generation I played a little after its prime, if you know what I mean, because I was, the Atari 2600 came out in like 1977 or whatever, so that was the year I was born, and some of the others came out about the same time. But I do remember like some of my earliest video game memories being like those systems, because people's older brother would have them, and they got the Nintendo and gave it to the the next generation. So don't know.
Anyone else have any thoughts about like just kind of going through it and trying to pick your generations?
Yeah, just kind of the biggest memory generators, bringing people together and so on and so forth.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
I started at the top. I mean, I knew my favorite, and it was kind of a, what can I rule out? I mean, there were systems I never played. I was looking at the list. I'm like, I've never seen that in person. I've never actually had a friend who owned that system. So it was like, that's off the list. unless you imported it or you had that rich friend who could afford that system. They just had no bearing on me. So that
Yeah, like an
eliminated that.
SNK or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, Neo Geo.
Neo Geo.
I don't
Neo
have
Geo. I've never.
no one.
I think I've
owned
touched
that.
one.
Nobody I knew.
Yeah.
Retro gaming.
So that eliminated a generation because I never played any of those games.
Well, I'm going to be referring to the Wikipedia of video game history here. So all you people paying attention and listening, when something's wrong, like don't type into me. I'm not like a fucking historian of this fucking shit. So you can either like go stick it up your ass or go fucking fix it on Wikipedia. And I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm just a little bit drunk.
Wee.
Yeehaw.
Okay, let's get started. Did anyone root or vote? Well, I'll read it first, actually. Let me read the first generation. The first generation of video games, or of consoles, happens in 1972 to 1980. It includes the first Odyssey, Atari Pong, and Coleco Telstar series. The first paragraph is, in the history of video games, the first generation refers to the video game consoles and handheld video game consoles available from 1972 to 1983. Notable consoles for the first generation include the Odyssey series, including the Magnavox Odyssey 2, the Atari Home Pong, Coleco Telstar series, and the Color TV game series. The generation ended in the computer TV game in 1980, and it follows the discontinuation in 1983. But many manufacturers have left the market prior due to the market decline in the year of 1978 and the start of the second generation of video game consoles. Did anyone vote for the very first generation?
Nope.
Not
consoles?
really, because I feel like these were single electronic devices that allowed you to play like one game. They weren't.
Yeah.
These aren't cartridge based. They aren't even cartridge based. It's like you buy that game.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of switches on it that maybe.
This is the
very
pilot
things.
episode,
Yeah.
basically.
And,
This
the Odyssey had like little
Yeah.
things you stuck to the screen to play the
Yeah.
games. You know?
Yeah. This is
It's
the
funny.
like. Does it work? Kind of.
Yeah.
Will people buy it? And I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people had a lot of fun with Pong. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
see-
Yeah.
I mean, if you see some of those old Pong arcade machines, people would put.
I like the
quarters in them all day
I like the
long.
Epoch Company TV Tennis Electro Tennis system.
Yep.
It's this wild red looking console thing. It's
I will
They
say
do-
that
they
it
do-
looks like a guitar pedal, actually.
They do have some 70s fabulous going on, though. I must
With
admit.
wood grain.
I
would-
respected their ideas.
There's not a
for
lot
their
of wood
consoles.
grain in these ones. The Magnavox Philips
No?
is like yellow, and the
Uh-huh.
first
Yeah.
Odyssey is like white.
Oh, I mean, some of these things are beautiful looking.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like they're
you know.
they're more looks right now. Versus
I like the Odyssey launch price is $99, equivalent to $740 in 2024.
Ooh,
The Magnavox
And people
Philips
complain about the Switch.
is 100 to
All right.
230. So that's 580 to 1300. And then the
Ooh.
Electro Tennis
Oof.
one is $66, equivalent to about 390 today. Good times.
so what you're saying is pull out a load, small business loan to get these consoles. Got it.
Also, the
Now-
controllers are fun.
Yeah, they can. Like in this generation, a lot of them are just a variable resistor, aren't they? And you don't even get a button necessarily.
Oh, Nintendo has a console from that generation, the Color
Yeah,
TV
the color
game
TV
series.
game. Yeah,
That was Nintendo. Huh.
$36 to
yeah, they sold 3
$179.
million of those though. So I
That's
mean,
interesting.
yeah.
It's fun. But yeah,
Yeah, like-
I have never seen nor have I played any of these consoles from that generation.
What's kind of funny is the color TV game came out in Japan in '77, the same year that the Atari 2600 came out over here, and so
All right.
it's kind of.
Well, let me mark that down as a big fat 0 in my
Yeah.
in our rankings here. We put that as like, oh, no one gave a shit about that generation.
Was not alive.
We did not
I was
live
gonna
it.
say, not even a thought.
Yeah.
Were we
Fine.
alive? No.
You guys
I
might
guess
have
been. Some
Dave
of
and I
us,
were born,
s-
had been born in
in
78.
79. Yeah.
They were all released
a-
before I was born, so yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, and actually, the Pingotronic was discontinued in 1983, so that's the only one that. Oh, and the color TV game was discontinued in '83, so those are the only two that were still being sold after we were born.
Jeez.
Jeez.
All right. Let us move to the second generation of video game consoles. In the history of video games, the second generation era refers to the computer and video game consoles, and handheld video game consoles available from 1976 to 1992. So there's some overlap here. They overlap the generations here. Notable
That's
platforms.
pretty typical.
Notable platforms of the second generation include the Fairchild Channel F, Atari 2600, Intellivision, Odyssey 2, and ColecoVision. The generation began in November 1976 with the release of the Fairchild Channel F. This was followed by the Atari 2600 in 1977, Magnavox Odyssey in 1978, Intellivision in 1980, and then the Emerson Arcadia 2001, ColecoVision, Atari 5200, and the Vectrix, all in 1982. By the end of the era, there were over 15 different consoles. 15 different consoles, guys. It conceded with and was partly fueled by the golden age of arcade video games. This peak era of popularity and innovation for the medium resulted in many games for second-generation home consoles being ports of arcade games. Space Invaders, the first killer app arcade game to be ported, was released in 1980 to the Atari 2600, though earlier Atari-published arcade games were ported to the 2600 previously. Coleco packaged Nintendo's Donkey Kong with the ColecoVision when it was released in August 1982. Blah, 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 blah. What is our relationship with this generation?
The one thing I like to know about this generation,
Oh, nothing.
the Fairchild Channel F was the first console to have interchangeable cartridges, but they weren't cartridges. They didn't have ROMs on them. They were just a series of wires that connected various pins in the console to give you different games.
That's pretty cool. Clever.
And that came out in 76.
So that means you could press the pins in yourself if you knew the combination.
Yeah, if you had a PC, if you could make a PCB that like did whatever you needed to do, you could like
that's fun.
unlock it.
That's
Clever.
But I think the Atari 2600 for me is my first experience of like a console with interchangeable cartridges and playing Yar's Revenge and obviously Space Invaders, and then the really like E.T. what a shit game, and
not a shit game. Still a good game. I still have the game. It's a great game. We can play it anytime you guys want. It's not that shit. I'll defend it.
And then
They'll show us how to play it properly.
But it was amazing just to be able to play those on your TV at home after school. So
there exists a video of Christmas of me opening the Atari 2600. I was like before the Nintendo 64 kid. I was like, yeah, just going ape shit, like opening presents. Like, you have other presents open. Like, no,
Don't care.
This is all. I'm good.
Matter.
I'm good. I'm just gonna take this upstairs.
Yeah.
Christmas
what game
is done.
did you get with it?
Moon Patrol.
Oh,
Moon
nice.
Patrol was the original, and then I had a couple, like 3 or 4 of them. But it was the beginning of it all.
I have a wild story, and I don't know if I've told this story before, but some of you know my previous ex-girlfriend, Jennifer.
Yeah.
So I knew her and her family when I was a wee child, like elementary age, like a long time ago, like very a long time ago. Like, that's how wild that whole story is. Anyway, she was upgrading to like a Texas Instrument thing. Console, keyboard, and then, I don't know. She was upgrading to something else. This is like
TI.
Obviously later in the intergeneration. Anyway, she was upgrading to that. Her family was offering to give me and Shane, because we were the poor kids,
Fine.
her old Atari. So we got that, and this is also, I think the Nintendo was about to come out. Not quite sure what. I don't remember quite the timeline, but I just remember that this was like, what? This thing? Whatever. So we got the console, 2 joysticks, 2 paddles, the remote button controller, and like, I don't know how many games I have. I have like a shit ton of games. I have like 10 to 12 games, Atari games. So we got all of that content. And I just remember playing, that was my experience. I had no idea that you could play video games in your house until we got that. Really. It was like, as a kid, I was kind of oblivious to some of that stuff. So I didn't realize that was a thing. And so when we got this thing, it's like, but they're also just like the dumbest games.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Asteroids. There's a game
I
called
was like-
Gunslinger where you're like two cowboys and you shoot each other.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
There's a Cannon Bomber where you bomb shit as you fly over. Tanks Plus, one of my favorites. Old Tank Plus,
Oh, yeah.
which also had biplanes and jets.
Oh, gosh, I spent ages with biplanes behind the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was.
Centipede?
No, I never had Centipede. No.
I remember-
Shitty Pac-Man?
See,
No
I remember playing
Centipede.
some of these games on the PC, but that was a
But
long
because
time ago.
but because we had that, I actually for a birthday present, we went into Toys R Us and I picked out E.T. as a new game for the Atari. I remember going into Toys R Us in Sunnyside when it was there. I remember going in, picking E.T. and buying a new Atari game.
You
that's the
saved it
first-
from the landfill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job.
100%. I didn't know any better. Like, you don't really have any. I didn't really have
I
any
know. And it was
concept. There's
it was
no-
E.T.
There's
It's
no
like,
real
that's
concept
cool.
of like Atari. E.T. is a great movie. Like, it's got to be a great
Yeah.
game, right? Like, those
Mhm.
things can't be any different.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I just
Little did
remember
we know.
that. I remember that, and then just being utterly frustrated by that game. But is it a bad game? I don't know. It's a weird
Yeah.
game.
That's up for debate.
Anyway, did anyone vote
Yeah.
for this generation?
No, but it was one of my
No.
earliest memories. That's one of our. Actually, it is our first system that we had in our house because my
I still have it.
grandparents won
still
it
have
from the
mine.
bank.
I
And
can't really vote for it, but I played the games that are based on that on my PC on the PC
Yeah.
when I was a kid, so I can't really vote for any of those. I definitely have the early memories like Asteroids and
Right.
yeah,
other stuff like
and
that.
Atari. I only played it at some friends' houses. You know, they had it, and I played it from time to time.
And then just as a side note, helping Jared move out of his apartment one day, and he offers me this Magnavox Odyssey 2. Hey, Ian, I don't want to take this home I don't want to move with this. Here, you have it. And I was like, okay, sure. But
And the
so
birth
he
of the
he
museum
gave
is
me this thing that he just showed earlier. He gave it to me, and I've held on to it forever. And I was just like, I've never used it. I've never really fired it up. Jared, you want it back? So I gave it back to Jared. So Jared got it somehow full circled. But like, that's my only
Yeah.
real, with that console. But I've held on to it. I've safeguarded it for so many years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, I did not vote for this generation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a feeling some of us voted for this next one, perhaps. This is the third generation of consoles. Blah, 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 referred to the 8-bit era. Beginning on July 15th, 1983, with the Japanese release of two systems, Nintendo's Family Computer, commonly abbreviated to Famicom, and Sega's SG-1000. When the Famicom was released outside of Japan, it was remodeled and marketed as a Nintendo Entertainment System. This generation marked the end of the video game crash of 1983 and a shift in the dominance of home video game manufacturers from the United States to Japan. Handheld consoles were not a major part of the generation. The Game & Watch line from Nintendo, which started in 1980, and the Milton Bradley Microvision, which came out in 1979, that were sold at the time, are both considered part of the previous generation due to the hardware typical of the second generation. So that's interesting. I don't know what that means.
Huh.
But yeah, so this is the Nintendo and the Master System, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You did have the Atari 7800.
Oh, the 7800 is down here. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
It's
then
in
the Atari XEGS, which is another Atari system. You kind of wonder why they had two.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
That
lot of other
released within
consoles
a year.
actually. Let's see here,
Yeah.
but they're just way lesser known consoles.
No one.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of Master System. I borrowed it once, and it was fine. It had some fun games.
I owned a
of
Master
course.
System. It came with Alex Kidd built in, and I had like
Yeah.
Space Harrier. There was this like kind of isometric racing game. I just remember the games were so expensive, and so you could never have too many of them. If you know
Actually,
what I
I
mean. You're
guess
always-
I'm dumb. The SG-1000 is way different than the Master System. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
They're
that
two
did
different
come out at the
systems.
same time, and then like
2 years later. So one comes out in 83 and then one comes out in 85.
yeah, and then
They were doing
replaced
like
it with the Master
slow
System.
manufacture, like upgrading to do mass.
Working their
release
way to
kind
the
of stuff.
Genesis. Yeah.
There
I almost
were
feel like
yeah.
yeah,
There were three models of the
SG-1000 was
Nintendo.
previous.
There were 3 models
Yeah.
of the Master System, 2 models of the SG-1000, and 2 models of the 7800.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's a
Pretty
lot.
wild.
Then there were a bunch of random Video Pack, My Vision, PV-1000, Tommy Tudor,
Doesn't count.
Supercast, Cassette Vision.
There's not
It
even
doesn't-
links for it. The
There's links
Wikipedia
right
is
here.
like we
There's
can't
links right
find.
here.
Oh,
There's
Yeah.
links right here.
The things
BBC
that-
Bridge, Companion,
no one owned Video Pack.
Action Max. What about
The
the,
things that
Action
would make
Max?
cry if you opened them on
Oh,
Christmas
here's
Day.
the one Jared Dave was
yeah.
talking about, the Atari XEGS.
I got you your favorite video game, Video Pack.
Viewmaster Interactive Vision, VTech Socrates,
Oh, is this when VTech
Dundee, Commodore
decided to
64
solely-
game system.
Oh yeah, the 64
and the
GS.
Amstrad GX 4000.
Oh yeah.
There was a late in this generation. There was a kind of thing
Push.
to consolize 8-bit home computers. Like, so that's why you get the Amstrad GX 4000 and the
Mhm.
because they all looked at the Nintendo and the Master System and were like, oh, we'll have a piece of that.
All right,
Those were like ones where you'd program the games or things like that, right?
They took the 8-bit computer, got rid of like the disk drive and the keyboard,
and they made it.
okay.
Yeah, they made
just
it.
had like a
Okay.
joypad and cartridges. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can gamify this and sell it to a market.
Huh.
Let's push it out there. Let's do it, kids. Let's go.
Dave, which one of these generations had like the cassette-based games?
Well, that
probably
was
this,
this
the
but,
previous and this one
one.
with like cassette
Okay.
in the UK.
Yeah.
but those are home.
right.
Those
Yeah.
are like PC technically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my Amstrad came out I think in 85, 86,
Okay.
about this time, but it was
Yeah.
also a lot cheaper. So
All right, who cares? Nintendo, Sega. Who voted for Gen 3?
As much as I love the NES, the whole
Yes.
generation
Not the
didn't
greatest.
really move it for me.
But-
I
So-
mean, Super Mario Brothers, that music and that game
voted?
is iconic.
Just
Number
Matt?
Yeah, 100%.
No one else? Dave
yeah.
didn't?
No, Aaron.
Didn't you raise
voted,
your hand,
didn't
Aaron?
I voted for it, but it's not my greatest generation. It's
It's not your great generation.
Well, yeah,
I-
it's still a vote.
we-
Yeah,
we
you're
just
just
vote.
voting
We're just
like
voting.
whatever
Like,
you
yeah.
were. All right, so there's two.
No, I voted
Yes,
for
I
it
know.
too. I voted
Oh,
for it
three.
as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
well, it's what got me in because I remember when I was a kid, my babysitters on North Plains, they actually had a Nintendo set up downstairs in the dad's office, and he had a bunch of games like your Mario, your Heavy Barrel, Knight Rider, and
Oh yeah.
Duck
we had
Hunt,
tons
stuff
of
like
games.
that. Oh yeah, he
In
had
a rental shop, I could rent
Oh, yeah, Duck
games in my
Hunt.
local shop.
Well, that's
from
what I'm
a
saying.
rich
This is
kid that rented a space from the pizza joint.
this is what I'm saying. I think this is why this generation is so important because this is what actually instigates a lot of this stuff where like the renting of video games,
Yeah.
the idea of having friends over and staying up all night and playing video games all night. Like I may not have loved the video games or the quality of the video games or maybe maybe my idea of them was wishy-washy, but I just the memories of the actual act
Yeah.
of staying up all
Fine.
night playing fucking Battletoads, the
Mhm,
pizza, the renting, like we rent a game, like anytime we would go like my dad had the Nintendo at his house. It was
Yeah.
a few like 2 or 3 years later when my mom bought one finally at our house. So like we only had one, and it was only so every other weekend I had a Nintendo basically. So like it was like go to dad's, get a pizza, Papa
Yeah.
Aldo's, rent a couple video games, and then that's what we did all weekend, basically. And that was like that's how dad weekend. That's how he got the brownie points,
Yep.
So
That's fine.
I
like,
understand that's
but
fun.
that changes everything about your concept. I had a subscription to Nintendo Power. None of my friends at school had that. It just
I-
changed.
$1.
It changed a
$1 a month.
lot of things. It just like.
Oh, I
yeah.
won't argue. It's not an important generation. It just like for some reason I think I was more into home computers in this generation. even though I
I
had
get
a
PC.
Master System, so it
Master
was like-
Race.
Yeah.
No, I was on
Well-
the Amstrad and this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of started on the. It's hard for me to figure out because I had the Nintendo thing, but I also had PC games at my mom's house. But also, this is the time Mom and Dad were still together. But then my mom bought a Nintendo for our house because I bludgeoned my mom with, I want a Nintendo, Mom. Questions every other day because of my babysitters. So we got one, and it was the only time I actually really would play with my brother on the console because we didn't even play a lot of games together because we had wild differences in what we liked as fun. He liked racing games. I liked every other game, but we would play racing games together, like Knight Rider, the Gran Turismo. So like that's much later on, but we play games together, like GoldenEye and stuff like that. But that's another generation. But
Rad Racer, man, I remember leaving that game on pause over like whole weeks so I could play it on the weekend and try and finish it. You know. That was one of the eras where you left a game paused and turned the TV
no
off
save states or very few games with save
Oh
states.
yeah,
some had passwords, a couple had batteries.
How about you, Scott?
So that was a big revelation.
Scott, you voted for it. Like, what is this generation? What is your memory of this?
I mean, I went from Atari to Nintendo, and Atari, I think the longest gaming session I had was maybe an hour or two, because you're just mindlessly playing. Like Nintendo, it's like the game has an end, you can beat it. You can save your progress,
like an arcade game.
Pick up later, grind some slimes for like an hour, and then come back and play the story. So that progression was like, oh my god, it's like a real console. And like you said, friends coming over, let's beat Ninja Turtles, let's beat Double Dragon or something. So it had that cooperative thing. Atari didn't have it wasn't like, yo, come over and play adventure or combat. Like it didn't have that. I'll just say a couch co-op joy to it of people coming over and playing games. You could have like 6 people over taking turns beating a stage or a level.
God, oh yes.
So Nintendo had that. I definitely
loser gives that winner
treasure the library. I am actively playing Big 20 games, rediscovering lost gems, stuff that I've never heard of, and it's like this game never made it past prototype, but somehow it's leaked, and now people are enjoying it again. So
I think the generation also informs.
Power of the internet, baby.
I think the generation also informs kind of how I am around couch co-op gaming. Like, there's a lot of like, I just remember like a lot of like, you know, you're playing Super Mario Brothers, and you're playing 2-player, but it requires your other player to die, and I just remember being like, you want them to die basically because you want to play the game. So it's like
exactly.
So you just sit there quietly going, "You're gonna die. You're not. You can't possibly make this."
Yeah,
you know. And then like, your parents are like, you know, like no talking while the other person is playing rule type of thing, shit, you know, like all these kind of weird rules about like, you know, or that you get into like the Ninja Turtles arcade version or whatever, where you can, isn't there like friendly fire on that one? On one of them, there's a friendly fire.
Double Dragon did.
Yeah. One of them has friendly fire. I don't know which one.
Double Dragon.
Like, you can just beat up your partner and then carry on without them, and it's just like, you know. If you want to grief, you know, you learn about griefing, you know, your co-op partner right away. You know, that's obviously going to come up later in other games we play in other generations, but all of that is formed here. And when I was looking back at, you know, creating what I think are the important generations, I think this was, while it's not my favorite video games, it is so monumental to what I think about video games.
I agree.
So that's why I rated, and I have way more. I have like some massive memories around, you know, as a kid and playing video games, and so that's why I put this one on my list. All right. Anyone else have anything else they want to say before we move on to the 4th generation of video games, which would be the 16-bit era? So you're talking like, you know, Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, blah, 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 TurboGrafx 16. What do we have? We have the Game Boy, Atari Lynx. So a lot of handheld stuff moves in at this point, too. Nintendo was able to...
Game Gear.
I cast my vote on this one.
Nintendo was able to capitalize on its success in the 3rd generation and managed to win the largest worldwide market share. In the 4th generation as well, however, particularly in the lucrative North America market, there was a fierce console war that raged through the early 1990s, which eventually saw Sega taking a market share lead over Nintendo in North America. By 1993, Sega's success in the era stemmed largely from its launch of its popular Sonic the Hedgehog franchise to compete with Nintendo's Super Mario series.
I think the other thing I remember about this generation, though, is I remember Altered Beast because that was
Oh,
the
yeah,
packing
Altered
game
Beast.
with the Mega Drive in the UK, and I remember just being amazed at how big the sprites were and how good it looked. And it looks like shit now, but like,
Rise from the
Uh,
grave.
I mean, this is
Good
also
with
the
it. And
SNK Neo Geo
Yeah.
generation, the $650 beast.
And I think the other
Pretty
difference,
pricey
the
stuff.
other thing I remembered about this generation though, is it seemed like the Mega Drive was out for ages before the Super Nintendo showed up, even though it was only 2 years difference. But you know, I remember like people having Mega Drives at school and reading. You know, you seemed like you were reading for ages about the Super Nintendo coming out.
mhm.
There's a lot of crazy
Yeah.
stuff here. Like Genesis has the Sega CD, the 32X, Super Game Boy.
I remember the
There's
CD.
all
There's a
kinds of
lot.
ranges.
That's
There's
in
all
that
kinds of
generation.
just like
32X.
stack them up, dude. Let's morph
Yeah.
into the final mode monster here. Like they just like
It's
what?
funny.
Let's just do it
Kept
up.
on trying all of it. Yeah, just push it a little longer. Just keep pushing on it.
I would like to call this the Dragon Ball Z era of video games.
Yep, pretty much. Frieza Saga.
Anyway, who
That's
voted
funny.
for this one? So Scott
did.
and
Yeah.
Jared and
Aaron.
Okay, so we got 3 on
Okay.
this one. All right.
This was
Yeah.
my handheld generation of, you know, if I was voting
I
for
was
just
in that-
handhelds, because I had the
Yeah.
Game Boy and the Game Gear, and I loved
Same.
those things.
Well, oh, you have my Game Gear. I remember that when I gave it to you, though. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
gave it to me.
I love
Yeah.
that thing. I did.
Oh,
I did.
yeah.
100%. I did.
I don't know.
that's what I
This
think.
era kind of introduced me to a lot of different like story-based games, role-playing games, amazing
Yeah.
music, graphics. A
mhm.
lot of stuff just knocked my socks off, and also a lot of games that I played with my dad, like Super Black Bass
Oh,
for
yeah.
Super Nintendo. We played the Super Scope 16 games together. We were rocking on that.
I remember the Super
Yeah, my dad
Scope,
played
yeah.
F-Zero. He was into the
Yeah.
racing.
Oh, that was my
racing
brother's
games.
game.
And the Secret
Yeah.
of Mana, doing 3-player with my cousin, my brother, that kind of stuff. Like some multi-tap Super Bomberman, like so many cool multiplayer experiences.
Yeah.
Super Mario Kart. This really brought like
Oh, yeah.
friends and family and everybody kind of together. And
So,
still, like the music is still something I love to listen to. 16-bit era music, and as good as the 8-bit was, 16 really tore it off for me.
So what is this?
I'll-
Like
I'll-
91, 91, right? 92? What is
89, I think,
Oh,
is
89,
the
but like
Genesis and
when-
that. But yeah,
Oh yeah, it is.
God
You're right.
damn.
You're right. It is so
Yeah, this shit.
earlier. It happened so fast
Yeah.
back then. Now they say like,
Uh-huh.
you know, a generation happens in 7 years,
Oh,
and be like,
I'm
holy shit,
young.
it's so fast. It's like, what are you talking about? These other consoles drop like every other year, motherfucker. Like, what is wrong with
Right.
you? And they were still $200. So you're saying
Mm-hmm.
like every 7 years you spend $500 and that's too much? We should go back to every 2 years at $200. That means you're spending about the same. Anyway, I don't want to get into that rant, but let's say it's
Yeah.
about the
Right.
same amount of money you're spending. Anyway,
right.
yeah. For me personally, I kind of tapped out. Like I would play at a friend's house, occasionally pick it up, but I was
Oh,
not
man.
really into video games here. Occasionally a PC game, but
Yep.
yeah, I was just not really playing video games. I was, trying to be. What was I doing? Listening to music and trying to make movies.
Trying to be a normal kid.
No, I was not being. I was anti-normal. I was very not normal. All the other kids were talking
he was
about video
looking for
games.
Buffalo.
I had a Playboy subscription. I was
Nintendo Power to
downloading porno on America Online. You know, I was doing all that like perverty shit that you're supposed to do as a teenager. Anyway, so I'll defer to you guys. I'll let you guys talk. So like Scott, you go. You voted for this one.
The Super Nintendo. I mean that was my number one. Like I played it like crazy. I rented everything. I think one of the developers of like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy, they said like we knew what our limitation was and we put as much as we could into it. Like they weren't trying to be like a super sorry, bad word for it, but they weren't trying to push beyond what their limitations were. Like the sound
You
chip
don't have an
and
extra.
Super Nintendo was really, really, really perfect for what they made of it. Like you listen to Chrono Trigger soundtrack, Final Fantasy VI soundtrack. Like how did they compose that? Like they are making opera-like quality sound from a 16-bit system. So it was like they knew what their limitations were, and they're going to do as much as possible with that. So that's why the SNES
That's why they're
definitely.
smart.
Yeah.
Like Sega CD, man, they were really trying for that video, but it looked like garbage. It looked like garbage then. It looks like garbage now. I mean, they're trying. They went from cartridge to CD, and now we can do videos. But
yeah, a little
Oh,
rough
yeah,
around the
pilot.
edges, yeah.
You think that's why?
Yeah.
You think that's why Nintendo bailed on Sony? It
No,
doesn't
they
look
could've-
good. We don't want to.
yeah.
We don't want to do this. We're gonna bail on.
they could have made it
Sony.
work. They could have make it work if they.
They had to.
They
Have,
pushed
they
it.
had to have been a reason why they decided. We're not gonna do this CD thing.
And we touched lightly on Neo Geo, but it's like for what it was. Let's say it was priced reasonably, and the games were the same price as Super Nintendo. Arcade fans, the fighting game community would have ate that up. Like it was
Oh yeah.
perfect arcade transitions to this system. It was just so overpriced. Like the price was what shot it. No one could
Yeah.
afford it.
You were paying an
Yeah.
arcade for an
Agree.
arcade cabinet.
Yeah, you just put some
Yeah.
quarters in and save yourself $800.
Exactly what you did.
And really, at the end of those days, I mean, if we're talking about the Neo Geo thing, like, yeah, some of those fighter games were popular with the fighting arcade community, but like the
Yeah.
kids, I didn't know those games were popular in the
Yeah.
arcade. I fucking, what is it? Like, I just thought it was like a knockoff of Street Fighter. Like,
Yeah,
You know
there's
what
so
I
many
mean?
Yeah.
knockoffs.
Minnesota and stuff.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
playing the football. There's like a soccer game that was popular, and I only found out years later it was an SNK game. You know, it was like,
yeah, you're not educated enough to know. So like the market that they're trying to sell it to, like, we don't know. We don't know why it's
Yeah.
worth that much.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, I think that's why. But so this generation, Aaron, you also voted for it. What are some of your memories, games?
Oh God, there was so where I grew up. There was this. You know, we talk about. It's funny you mentioned the console war thing in North America. We had a little micro console war in our little neighborhood because there's two houses that had like we had like the Nintendo. Someone got the Super Nintendo. And then when someone got the Super Nintendo, someone get the Genesis. It was always just like a one up type thing. I don't think it was intentional, but it was always like we always spent a lot more time at the house with the biggest, best console, and that was usually the kid at the Genesis. But between all three of our houses, we never had to worry about buying games. We just borrow them from each other because we'd have like someone would have Super Mario, Mario World, someone would have, except for the kid who had the Genesis, he'd have like Spider-Man, and he'd have like Sega, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Echo the Dolphin. That was my first experience with Echo the Dolphin. I didn't get the lore of it, but whatever.
I like
But-
Echo the Dolphin.
I mean, that's yeah, but I couldn't. But no,
I've played
like,
the first 20 minutes of that game many times.
so you beat it essentially with how many times you played the 20 minutes. Okay. But anyway, so no, the Super Nintendo, I played a lot of like comic book games on that thing. It had Spawn, it had Separation Anxiety, the Spider-Man Venom team-up game. It had Maximum Carnage, which I had the limited edition red cartridge, which is very hard to find. I'm very mad about losing that. And then I had a bunch of other games for it, but there was other kids who had other games. So it was like I said, I never had to worry about buying a game because if I want to borrow a game from them, it's just simple. You want to borrow this? Okay, borrow this. Trade. It was nice. But a lot of like PvP stuff going on in our neighborhood. The best part was you didn't have to like leave your neighborhood to go do these things because you could just go up the street or down the street. It was nice. But a lot of silence happened after the Mario Kart fight happened for 2 days straight.
I will say this, like, so towards the end of this generation or whatever, my brother did buy Justin's old first gen Genesis. And that's where I played Flashback for the first time and played and beat that game.
Oh,
so that's like my only real claim to this generation where I engaged in a game from this generation. I had played Street Fighter obviously on console at friends' houses. NBA Jam I remember that being super popular.
Oh, yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Playing as Bill Clinton.
Yeah, all that kind of bullshit.
Gosh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
when Shane bought that Genesis from Justin, I do remember being like, "Oh man, Flashback! This is a cool game. This is like," and it had this real strong narrative to it that was way different than a lot of games I had experienced up to that point. These kind of weird cut scenes, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And the music was pretty dope, and I really remember really loving that game. And I've always bought that game whenever I have it. So I've played through it a couple times now, but it's more of a very nostalgic memory. But
Yeah.
for the most
Yeah.
part, man, I did not play video games during this generation.
I played video games, but I was stuck on my 16-bit Amiga, or not stuck on it. That was the system I wanted to play games on. So I had a friend, him and his brother. One of them had the Super Nintendo, and one of them had the Mega Drive. And we'd go around, and they'd have them set up in each bedroom, and like everyone would just migrate between the two.
That's
It was like,
fun.
oh, there's Sonic this week, and then like
Sounds like my
later on
neighborhood.
there'd be Street Fighter 2. It's like, oh, Mario World and Mario Kart, and you get together and try and beat them over a week or two.
And how many of us had Game Boys?
I did have a Game
Yeah.
Boy,
I love my Game Boy. I remember
Everybody.
but
I had a Game Boy
I never
Pocket.
played it. Like, if you were to look at mine right now,
My-
it is like in pristine condition. Like, it's all.
It was
perfect.
hard to
man.
get away from my parents because they wanted to play nothing but Tetris.
really?
They
Oh yeah,
were
my
like,
sister and
My-
I, we Tetris with the link cable because it
Yeah.
came with the link cable. We played that. And my
Are you
dad.
freaking kidding me? I played mine so much, my doctor said I had to stop playing it when I was a kid because I got like a big old bump on my wrist because it was.
That's not from the Game Boy, Aaron.
I was 10.
Was it a
I was
collection
10.
of white bumps on your palm?
No, it was
Anyway. I never played mine. I got it. My brother and I both got one for Christmas. Super awesome. Shane played his all the time. I played mine never. I just had it all the time. I still have it. I even have my brother's at this point, actually. Like, I should probably give it back to him, but whatever. Dumb. What a waste. Mom, what a waste of money.
Mine has an interesting story. My neighbor at the time was working on a shipyard, and I think he was working with like a contract through the Gulf War. Remember they sent video game systems to like troops. I think
No, but
Nintendo
it's a
Power
great
published
idea.
something about it, like the Game Boy that had seen combat and was still working. He
Wow.
was cleaning out one of the Marine ships and found a Game Boy, and just like, oh yeah, you have a son if he wants this Game Boy. It had Motocross Maniacs with it, and I was like, it was like a gift out of nowhere. I mean, I think my parents gave him like $30. Like, he didn't care about it. He's not going to use it, but it was unexpected. Wasn't my birthday. Wasn't Christmas, and I was like the cool kid at school that had a Game Boy at the time.
That's wild.
So yeah, it was a rescue. It was just left over from the Gulf War.
Yeah, the whole handheld thing is always like, I guess that's part of the whole generation thing. I always like forget it. Like,
yeah.
obviously PC
Yeah.
games run along the generations, and they always are just getting better and better and better. But obviously they're constantly changing with all their processors and the Intel, and then obviously those processors go away eventually to NVIDIA, and it's funny how there's that whole war, and then the handheld war. I just never. I mean, that's basically a Nintendo thing. Like, everyone else, like Atari tried, Sega tried, everyone's tried, but it's always just been
everybody got
Nintendo's
stomped on,
bag.
yeah.
I also
really
get
is.
the handhelds always were kind of like they always strike me as a generation previous to even though the Game Boy's in the same
yeah.
generation as the Super Nintendo, I totally see it as more being in the same generation as the original Nintendo.
Yeah.
The Game
Same
Gear
here.
had an adapter that you could play Master System games on it. I mean,
It's pretty
And
wild.
wasn't that by the fourth generation? Weren't PCs playing StarCraft and Warcraft?
Oh,
I feel like that was
so.
probably 99. So
Yeah, so
The
then
first
you also,
console I played
and then
You
you
also
on
have
was Super
Mist and
Nintendo.
Riven, Mist and Riven,
yeah, Mist, Riven.
Doom,
Hexen.
huge, Hexen, Rise of the
Oh,
Triad.
yeah,
I remember
Doom's a-
playing.
yeah.
96, 97, isn't it?
Yeah,
I remember
PC was nuts in the
MDK.
late
There's some
90s.
great games going on. Like, but yeah,
Duke
StarCraft, huge man. Diablo
Yeah,
2 and
it's so big.
shit.
Yeah, I was playing a lot of Warcraft.
Diablo 2.
Warcraft 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried playing
Diablo
Warcraft.
2.
Like,
What else is
Diablo's my jam.
Oh, Command and Conquer is a fucking beast.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's
all
like
the real time strategies were
yeah, that
phenomenal.
was huge, man. Yeah,
Yeah, if you wanted adventure games or like real time strategy, you're probably on the
or
PC.
even if you're thinking about
Gabriel
it at this point, I know they're released for the next generation, but isn't like Tomb Raider already out at that point for PC? Some of that
Yes.
stuff, like
I don't think so. Cause
No, that was PS1.
Well, no, wait a
is that the
minute.
same-
I remember
is it not PC
Fact
first?
check.
I don't know.
Yeah,
someone
I
else-
thought
don't
Tomb Raider was.
that.
I'm not gonna
I
figure,
think it's
but
fine.
I thought it was earlier on PC than it came out later on console.
Well,
but-
I remember when I lived in Denmark. I remember I went over to a kid's house in outside Copenhagen. He had Tomb Raider on there. He showed me playing. He showed me on his PC playing, and I remember that. But that was like 97, 98. So.
First
But then-
released. So Tomb Raider
Oh,
first released on the
you could
Sega Saturn, followed by the MS-DOS.
Oh, so it's
and
later on
PlayStation
PC. Oh, that's wild.
Oh,
That's wild.
and PlayStation.
Okay,
But back then, you needed a beast of a PC to
Yeah.
kind of
yeah.
make it look as
you
good
had a-
as the Saturn and the PlayStation.
He had a
But
pretty
let
yeah.
us get
solid
get to that generation.
Yay!
The fifth generation
Yeah,
of consoles. And the
God
one
damn.
where, Nintendo woke the sleeping dragon. If you know the story, you know the story. But they shit on Sony, and Sony said, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they created their own console. The PlayStation comes out. So anyway, the fifth generation is also known as the 32-bit era, the 64-bit era, or the 3D era. Refers to
Yeah.
computer and video game consoles and handheld gaming consoles dating approximately October 4th, 1993 to March 23rd, 2006. The best-selling home console was the Sony PlayStation, followed by the Nintendo 64, and then the Sega Saturn. The PlayStation also had a redesigned version, the PS1, which was launched on July 7th, 2000.
But the PS1.
7 years later. Anyway,
And welcome
yeah.
welcome joysticks and rumble to the
And
market.
save functions. Don't forget
some
save
of the-
functions.
Memory
cards.
cards.
some of the
yes.
features that distinguish the fifth generation console from the previous fourth generation console included 3D polygon graphics with texture mapping,
Yep.
3D graphics capabilities, lighting, shading, anti-aliasing, and texture filtering, optical disc CD-ROM game storage, allowing much larger storage space, up to 650 megabytes than a
Yeah.
ROM cartridge. Suck it, Nintendo. CD
Yeah.
quality audio recordings, music and speech, PCM audio with 16-bit depth, and blah, blah, blah. Wide adoption of full motion video, displaying pre-rendered computer animation or live action footage, analog controllers, display resolution from 480i, 480p
God.
to 57.6i, color depth up to 16 million colors for 24-bit true color. What a leap! What a leap!
Dave, holding your laser disc up or holding CDs up.
Dave's got the
That is a
ace.
giant CD,
Ace card,
basically.
yeah.
That is basically
Yeah.
just a giant CD.
It is, yeah, a giant CD.
Is it just one-sided? Is that just a one-sided laser
It's
disc?
two-sided.
Might be.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Dave likes to watch his movies like he listens to his records. Get up in the middle of them and flip them over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless he has one of those
Like
really,
Betamax.
unless he has one of those really expensive laser discs that plays both sides. But I
You
don't
need to
know.
get a Betamax now, Dave.
Good luck finding one of those. Let's go
Betamax
for
is
that.
better than VHS. I don't want to get into it. All right, we are in
Video.
the.
formats.
There's some handhelds.
I vote
also.
for this generation.
There's also some other handhelds. There's a Sega Nomad, the Virtual Boy, Neo Geo Pocket,
Hey.
Game Boy Color, Game Boy Light.
Hey,
Yeah. I feel like
Thank
everyone
you.
jumped on the
Virtual Boy?
handheld.
So who voted for this one?
Yep.
I did.
PlayStation.
Oh wow, we got 4
Oh
on
man,
this
there's
one.
4.
This one
Look
might
at that.
win.
Yeah.
This one might win.
That
Oh, big
what I
leap.
love about this generation is how many like consoles were coming out and everyone was trying to one up themselves, and it seemed like there was something new every day. I mean, even the failures like the Amiga CD32 and the Atari Jaguar were kind of interesting. And I remember had some interesting stuff for them, but
mhm.
The
I mean, for me,
Panasonic
it's the-
3DO.
it's the PlayStation. It's like it's playing Tomb Raider. It's playing Wipeout. It's like
Multiplayer
it-
Doom.
It
It was,
beat
like,
it
super
also beat
cool.
a console that was double its
Yeah,
resolution or its bit rate, whatever. But that's mostly Nintendo shooting themselves in the foot because they couldn't have bigger games because of the disk space. Space.
Cartridges.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
disk
Pretty
space.
much.
You know.
well, it also had
Just
some
say it. It's okay.
They
We're
weren't
not
well hung
judging.
enough. Yeah.
I like what Nintendo this, and to me, this is also the last generation where Nintendo were trying to kind of keep up, or not
Mhm.
keep up, but like be ahead of the pack. You know,
Oh, for sure.
they went a slightly different direction than
No one had the Apple Bandai Pippin.
no.
No one had that.
What?
Come on, guys.
You should.
One of the
Yeah.
42,000 people who were lucky enough to get that under the Christmas tree and cry.
You know what's funny? That's the Apple
I don't think they
Bandai
cried and
Pippin.
happy though.
Apple and
Pippin.
Bandai released that. But then Bandai was really into trying to create a console, and they had the Playdia, which was created just by Bandai.
Yeah.
Successor to Stadia.
The Amiga CD32.
Yep. I remember those. Those were really
Yeah, Amiga.
popular in Europe because a
Oh,
lot
man.
of people had Amigas, and
I wish I could get my hands on a Casio Loopy.
Loopy? The Marty?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Everybody now release a game console.
I also, this is again like the last generation. I was just not involved. I had a PC. I would play Driver. I would play Rally once in a while, but I just was not playing console video games.
Yeah, this was what Grand Theft Auto,
Beginnings,
Final
yeah.
Fantasy 7, 8, and 9.
I think-
I mean, they're
Well, OG Grand Theft Auto.
yeah,
not
OG top down
Top-down.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Mhm. I remember
I didn't input a number.
the ones that no one cares about.
Yeah, I think what's
Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
about
that's-
this generation is how quick some of the consoles went through. Like the Nintendo 64 was done in 2002, but I mean, I remember playing Super Smash Brothers on that.
Oh god, that was like my
GoldenEye
favorite
and-
multiplayer. Oh, that one
Absolutely.
too.
Mario 64.
Mario Kart.
I just remember
Diddy Kong
that.
Racing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never owned one, but it was such a great console. And then like the
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
PlayStation, you just
Oh.
had so many good games. It was
I mean, you have Final Fantasy, obviously. You have Metal Gear Solid.
Yep.
I mean, that
Oh, yeah.
changes.
Gosh, yeah, I remember the first time I saw that.
I
It was
mean,
I think
uh,
this
The
was
rhythm games all
generation-
began
all the
there.
rhythm
Dance Dance
games,
Revolution,
yeah.
Parappa.
Every-
Rappa the Rappa.
Yep, Rapper the Rapper.
Gran
Wasn't that when the
Turismo.
Dreamcast came out?
Yeah, Gran Turismo, man. There's so much good stuff on that generation, N64 and PlayStation.
I think this is like
Sega had their Dreamcast, right? Wasn't
Yep.
that?
No,
Saturn,
not, no,
yeah.
No,
not
it's
yet.
Saturn.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
not yet.
Not
That's
yet.
No?
next generation.
Oh, that was
Saturn.
the next generation. Okay, it seems
Wow.
like it would fit right into that generation, but
Yeah,
that was
I
great
agree.
there.
The Saturn, Jared. This is the Saturn run.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Saturn. I only knew one person that had a Saturn. And
I didn't know nobody had one.
I didn't ever play a game on it, so I don't know.
I think
I
I
know
played
kids who wanted
Virtua
it, but never
Fighter
got it.
and Sega Rally a couple of times at people's places, but it was like that was all right.
I remember it had
Yeah,
a cool
this-
music player. You put a music CD in it, had a cool player in
Karaoke
it.
mode.
Yeah.
My biggest love for the PlayStation was that copying CDs was stupid easy. You can literally go to the store, rent a video game, copy it, and then you own it. And we had a high school, like we printed out a list of what games we had, and we had this like circle of trading and
Yeah.
everything. It's like, oh, you got Street Fighter Alpha? The next day, 20 other people had Street Fighter Alpha. We just kept that CD burner going, and it was
Man.
glorious. I mean, it was like you don't even have to mod your system. You can literally take a little garbage tie, leave the lid open, and you're just like playing the game. So I
That's
think
funny.
piracy, I mean, just made it.
It is the
very
beginning.
easy.
Like CD
Yeah.
obviously does allow
Yeah.
start.
And
yeah, it
PlayStation
allows-
had a cool like black bottom disc.
Yeah,
instead
black
of
bottom disc.
silvery.
Yeah, but you didn't have to play with
pretty
that.
Yeah.
Did you guys? So when I went to art school and I had a roommate who had a PlayStation, he had an issue with his, and I think a lot of them did with the reading of the disc. And sitting it flat, it wouldn't read it. But if you put it
Oh, yeah, yeah,
sideways,
Yeah, I
it
remember
would read it.
people's
So
having that,
he
yeah.
would
Yeah,
always
I
lean
had
it
to
up
set
against
something
his,
on top of mine.
He had to like sit it against
Yeah.
his television to play it, and that kind of informs kind of why the PlayStation 2 in the next generation I think is both. You can set it up both ways. I
Yeah,
think
I
they were
remember
just
that.
trying to
Mine,
like.
mine
that's
stayed
funny.
horizontal forever.
But like, I was
Yeah.
always thought it was funny that he was like, he was. I remember watching, just drinking beer and watching him play Final Fantasy VII, just one night, and just. But it was just always funny that the console was on its side. But
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like this is
Yeah.
when
I
video
haven't
games
half a
started being aimed at
dozen.
adults.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
more
The previous
adults,
generation, you had
100%.
stories and
Mortal Kombat and stuff that had like
Yep.
blood and stuff, but this generation really kind of like
well, it also held on to the kids because like you
Yep.
have obviously Tony Hawk Pro Skater, huge, fucking huge. So like
Yeah.
you just have like
Yep.
just
Fantastic
teenagers
game.
or just like I remember being in art school and like going to like parties and kids just everyone's drinking, but there's still just a couple dudes on a TV playing Pro Skater. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
like
you would-
a hangout game at a party or
you go to
something.
parties in college and there'd usually be a Nintendo 64 or like PlayStation hooked up to the TV, and there'd be like people just cycling in and out playing Mario Kart or GoldenEye.
So
or,
4 of you guys chose picking this generation. What was the lead console for you guys?
Oh,
Super Nintendo.
No, Jared.
no.
I thought you were talking like all
No,
together
this
since
fifth
we
generation. This fifth generation.
started. Yeah,
like,
fifth generation. Yeah, the PlayStation.
Okay.
PlayStation.
Okay.
This was the one that brought me back, and then got
64 for
100%.
me.
64 for Aaron.
Yeah.
Scott.
Well, yeah.
PlayStation.
Oh,
I mean,
so
I had
mostly-
both. I had an N64 and a PlayStation. That's
I
when I
didn't
was
have
old
a
enough to have a
PlayStation,
job, so I
so-
was able to buy them.
I only have them both now, and they're just massive dust collector paperweights. You know, this the most useless consoles I've ever seen in my life. Anyway,
mean,
what were you guys thinking
yeah.
back then?
we were
Yeah.
thinking this is the future of video games.
Yeah, clearly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, man, I had a job. I was in high school. My brothers both moved out, so I got a room to myself where I bought a stereo, a TV. I hooked all my stuff up to it.
Wait, did you have to
Yeah,
sell
no,
a
I had a
room
lot
with
of fun.
2 other brothers?
No, I shared a room with Josh. Jeremy had the second bedroom.
okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, that would.
after they
suck.
both moved out, I got
Balls.
both bedrooms.
Oh, you got
I never had
both.
a share. Well, that's not true. I did actually.
Yeah, one was like my entertainment room.
That's
the other
funny.
one I slept
Like
in.
if you have 2 rooms in a house, it could almost be your house. Like you could bring a girl over and be like, my parents just live here at my house, but this is my entertainment room and this is my bedroom. I got my own bathroom. You know, this is basically my house.
Right?
yeah, the whole back end of the house. Yeah.
I don't pay mortgage.
Mhm.
My house, but I don't pay mortgage.
What were your favorite games of this generation?
Wipeout 2097.
Oh,
Yeah, good soundtrack on that.
Soul Reaver, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain,
Symphony of the
Final
Night.
Fantasies,
Symphony of the Night. Yeah,
Symphony
Tomb
of the
Raider.
Night. Oh, 100%. I went
doesn't
through that
hold up,
last
but
year again.
I have Symphony of the Night. Even I mean, I'm not even that
Yeah.
generation. I own that
Timeless,
game.
yeah, timeless.
Yeah, man, there's just so much. Yeah, Wipeout. I have the modern versions of the Wipeout series. I've played in VR. That game's still sick. And the
Stellar-
music, the soundtracks. That's one thing that was great. Was the music.
Oh yeah, the CD
Like
soundtracks to that
actual
generation.
recorded
yeah.
music and all that
That was a
stuff.
big
Like
one, wasn't
so.
Well, Stellar picked
was crazy.
64. What was your favorite game from that generation? Is that
Oh,
the
good.
Go ahead.
I would be gonna say GoldenEye is one of my favorites for multiplayer because that and Super Smash Brothers is. I love that game.
Oh yeah.
Then there was also Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I didn't care
Yeah.
much for the one after that. I tried that one. It was just more of the fucking.
I didn't play Majora's Mask. I
Majora, yeah.
wasn't in it.
Yeah, no. Those are like the big 3 for me. I mean, I think Mario 64 is a great introduction to the console itself, but
Oh, I got all the coins or stars in that. Yeah, the
oh
stars.
man, I couldn't do that.
120
And
or something like that. Yeah, I love
then
that.
there's Midnight Club also. I love that game. I remember that was for a later thing. Never mind. This game called Battletech Global Assault. It was like it's what it was. You basically were playing a much more massive version of Warzone.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I didn't get to play those guys. I'm not much remarkably tight knit on those ones.
Yeah. Oh, I love
I also
that
did
game.
play Star Wars: Shadow of the Empire. That was
Oh, yeah. I
that
was
was a good
playing that
game.
on PC.
I rented it from Blockbuster.
Oh
and that
no,
was
Shadows
so
of the Empire. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the N64 one.
Yeah, that one was fantastic. I loved it.
Mhm.
That was really about my
All right, no worries.
big boys.
Cool. Well, then let's move on.
Oh, and I'm tapped out. That's all my votes.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Well, that's. I have not even voted all my votes yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still a few more.
Well, Scott, if you want to tap out, that's up to you. You can hang out.
I'm not tapping out. I'm
All right. I'm just saying.
like,
I know.
my
You
votes-
voted for all the top. Like that's Scott's old man. He's just like he's the oldest of all of us. He's just like it's like I'm into the old dusty.
He's like retro.
Yeah,
Retro.
like I blow in a
Before it
cartridge
was
like I
baby.
blow in that granny pussy. It's just dust. I don't know what. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm drunk. But here we are now in the 6th generation of video game consoles. This is a big generation for me. But here, the 6th generation era, the 128-bit era, bits and system power, the era of computer and video game consoles and handheld gaming devices available in the turn of the 21st century. Starting on November 27, 1998, platforms in the sixth generation include the consoles from 4 companies: the Sega Dreamcast, the Sony PlayStation 2, the Nintendo GameCube, and lastly, the Microsoft Xbox. This era began on November 27, 1998, with the Japanese release of the Dreamcast, which was joined by the PlayStation 2 on March 4, 2000, the GameCube on September 14, 2001, and then the Xbox on November 15, 2001, respectively. The Dreamcast was among the first to be discontinued in 2001. Such a short-lived journey in its life, followed by the GameCube in 2007, Xbox in 2009, but the PlayStation 2 lasted till 2013, motherfucker. Meanwhile,
Right.
Was the best-selling console.
It's still technically the best selling, but
know.
I have a feeling that at some point the first Switch
the
is
Switch
will probably overtake it. But currently, the PlayStation 2 is still currently the best selling console of all time.
It was the cheapest DVD player.
Free DVD player.
Who has this one on their list? This is for me. This is in my list.
It's definitely honorable
That's
mention.
in
for
mine.
me.
Oh, so it's only 2 on this one. Oh my god! All right.
Well, I think it's just
It's also a generation that brought online gaming.
It is.
Yeah.
To the masses. The
I never really
PS2
did online
renewed
gaming
thing,
on
had
this
a modem
generation.
eventually. Dreamcast had one built in, and Xbox kind of based themselves around that eventually.
Yep.
And and PlayStation you could buy one separately.
Yeah.
Or to come
Yeah.
with the anyway.
Yeah, you had to
They-
buy the hard drive and the modem accessory for it.
So this is the console for me that got me back into video game consoles. Like I had been out of it for so long, and I was in Seattle. It comes out in I was in Seattle in 2001 when it was released, but I hadn't got it yet. It wasn't until I came back home and I got married and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, my wife is a fucking psycho bitch, and I need something to do with my life because she hates it when I go out with my friends. I'm gonna go buy a PlayStation 2. So that's what I did.
There you go.
And then, I found Gran Turismo because I had never played Gran Turismo on PlayStation. So Gran Turismo 3, I spent a lot of time. I found Metal Gear Solid 2, my favorite game of all time.
Oh yeah,
There's so many. There's so much. So there's a lot of that into that, like getting back into video games. But then ultimately, when I meet Dave, I reconnect with Justin. It's the forming of also what would become video game night.
Couch co-op.
The
Dead or Alive
rekindle.
2?
No, this is still before couch co-op, technically.
Yeah.
Like we don't
True,
do.
but without the PlayStation 2, I don't think
There
would
isn't
be-
that. There isn't. This is the beginning of This is the beginning of video game night. This is the rekindling of that fire that was the first, as a kid, Nintendo Entertainment System, and trying to reconnect that stuff. And so, creating friends around video games, playing a lot of video games, and like.
Yep.
None of this bullshit that we're doing now, entertainment, podcast recording, none of this other stuff that I created outside of this, as another thing to do because I got burnt out on video games, I guess, ultimately. But like we were just playing video games. We would get together just to play video games. It was like get together, eat pizza, play video games for like 5 to 6 hours and then go home. It was just intense. And then we would go out to like, that's when Game Crazy
I miss
and
Game Crazy.
all the tiny
Game
video game
Crazy.
stores that used to be around. We used to like just go
Game
pound
Trader,
around and
Game
like
Crazy.
check them all out, and like we would just do all this random shit that was just very video game related, and we would buy a lot of garbage, but really cheap because the retro market, hadn't become what it is now. It wasn't this fucking second, this like lucrative way for people or businesses or whatever to make money. There was just like this energy that
people would buy a game for $60 and then they would trade it in and you could buy it for $25-$30, and it was like or they'd buy a bunch of Game Crazy would have like I remember getting like all the light gun games for next to nothing because they had like Time Crisis free with 2 light guns for $20 or $30.
We've told this story a lot of
Yeah,
times,
it's
but
just
like it was Dave. I was at my house. My wife was doing something, I don't know, and Dave was like, "I'm gonna come up to Vancouver to look at a guitar. You want to get together after and just play video games?" And it's like, sure. And so he went up and looked at his guitar, and then he came. I think I actually went with him. I might have.
Yeah,
gone
he
with
did.
You.
It
I think
was
I went
like
with you.
someone's like studio, and it
Yeah.
he had a broken neck that they
Broken
hadn't
neck and stuff.
advertised, and it was like it played all right, but yeah,
So then we go back to my house, and then we just
We played
sat there and we played Battlefront
Yeah.
for like 3 hours or
Yeah.
something. And it's like, you know what? We should just do this every week. And it's like, and then that was the birth of Game Night. And then, you know, we included more people and other people. And then one day, we had invited Justin back into it. And like Justin's like, yeah, we'll have it at I want to host it at my house. And is it cool with my friend Jared? He's just my neighbor. He's really into video games. Can he come over? It's like,
Yep.
no, sure, why not? And so then that's how we met Jared. Fucking
Yeah,
Game
hi.
Night.
and then it just goes on from there with more people and people coming and going, and
Yeah.
You know, then certain people in Game Night had sex with
Yeah.
other people's wives and then broke up. And then Jared, and then we learned that Jared had like a massive collection of friends that his wife didn't like him to hang out with. And then
Something else.
enter Aaron and Jason and all
Yeah.
these other people.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
Just kind of
Just
brought us in.
open the floodgates, man.
It's like, oh
Just
shit, Jared
let
had
'em
like,
in.
what the fuck is that about? Anyway, it's a pretty funny history. But, and then
Yeah,
ultimately, you know, we were doing the show, and then the show happens, and that's when Scott came in, and then.
Yep.
Yeah, it's history. It's just history, man. But
Yeah,
like, I think it
it's
all
very
that kind of
historic.
starts
Yeah.
PS2?
with the PS2, and I think that's why the PS2 is so
PS2,
important to the couch co-op. Ultimately, even though
Oh,
it's
100%, yeah.
clearly not loved by the couch co-op as much as I thought it was going to be. But
I love the PS2, and I even love the Xbox. I have fond memories
I
of
love-
playing the original Xbox,
I
Halo.
liked my game.
What a launch game! I
On
mean,
Xbox
that
for
was
sure.
like a
PlayStation for sure.
that was a system seller, was Halo, and you know. And then
I just beat Halo for the
was it
first time
Battlefront
last
2
year.
was on.
Oh,
on the
what a
Xbox
rush! Yeah,
was nice, yeah. Because you had the 4 controllers, so
Yeah.
yeah. Where Ian was saying he was tapped out life things with other systems. This is where I was in the Air Force. I was like, hadn't even touched a GameCube. I think Xbox I didn't have any interest in. The Dreamcast I liked because it's the same reason. The piracy was foolproof.
Right.
You get a Utopia disc, get a spindle of discs, and you can just play everything. And a lot of Dreamcast was it's PlayStation with sharper graphics. Like they have
Yeah.
so many titles that were basically just PlayStation but better.
I'm always
Uh,
surprised that the Dreamcast didn't do better, if you know what
It was-
I mean. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was the
It was
easy
a cool
piracy.
system.
It was like
well, it's
stupid
because I
easy
think
to,
I think
yeah.
if they had not made it the GD disc and they
Yeah.
made it a DVD, like if they had like Ghost
Just add a
like
DVD
Trojan
player.
Horse to DVD into the household like the Sony did,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been it would have beat it, or it would have
Yep.
at least been comparable.
I would have kept
It's
up.
the
Yeah.
fact that they went with this like kind of our own format that
Yeah.
you can pirate. Like I've pirated shit tons of Dreamcast games. It's easy to
Yeah.
pirate, but like
Everyone did.
so
yeah.
like they shouldn't have like thought that, like, oh, we should do our own format. They can't pirate it. No, people are gonna find out a way to pirate it.
Yeah.
So you should just like
Uh-huh.
make it a DVD drive and send that into the households because then people are gonna buy that shit. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Even
Isn't
though
that
you
the
could
only
pirate
console that
DVDs.
had the VMU card for the
Yeah.
controller. Is that the only
Yeah, the-
system that's ever done that?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
video-
controller-
It's kind
yeah.
of a memory
the memory
card, kind
card.
of, sort of, but not really. It was weird.
It's awkward.
It has like,
Like a
little,
Tamagotchi kind of
yeah,
thing.
Little
Tamagotchi
emoji
thing.
thing, yeah.
And then it has
Yeah,
a
I
little
liked
video
it.
on it. But like,
And the cord came out the wrong side of the controller.
Yeah, it's not that bad though. It's just anyway. The PS2 still had a memory card. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I just think the only thing, the problem with that was the fact that it should have been a DVD and not a fucking GD disc, and they would have been fine. That's just Sega
Being
making
Sega.
mistakes. I don't like who thought that. And like Sony was smart. Like, hey, we're gonna Trojan horse this because this format is gonna be big. But that's Sony because Sony's also PlayStation's a part of Sony, and Sony's also a
Yeah.
motion
Yeah.
picture group, and they know that they need
And
to put
Sony's
movies.
manufacturing.
Yeah,
all
they're
of
Well,
these.
yeah, but they know that
movies.
they're going to put movies. They want to transition away from tapes because tapes are expensive and a waste. And like we
Yeah.
want to push this new format, and they know that. And so like,
Called Laserdisc.
and like I think that's just Sega. I think that's no, it's not lazy. Anyway, that's just Sega not wanting to license that. I don't even think that's a Sony technology. That's like a JVC technology or some shit.
Yeah.
Like
Several.
Yeah.
Magnavox, or it's not
Makers.
Sony's, but like Sony was like, well, we'll license it and we'll put it in ours. If Sega's not going to do it,
Yeah.
that's dumb. and that's basically how they won. Because like
Yeah.
that's why I
Right.
wanted it too. Because like, oh, I can watch movies on this shit. This is cool, and that was
Yeah.
massive, man. That was
That was
huge.
great.
Oh yeah, I remember like people had
Well, that was like
DVD players in the computers, and not very many of them, but it was.
Oh,
like,
I had
wow,
a yeah. So in
DVD
college, I
movies
had
are
a DVD
great,
player,
yeah.
and I would buy DVDs in college, and I would play them in my PC. But when that, it's like, oh, I can watch these in my console on my television. Fuck yeah, dude! And it's
TV,
only
yeah.
what was that? $2.99. What was that cost of
Yep,
it? at launch?
300.
Yeah, it wasn't
$300?
much.
Yeah,
Very-
it's not.
Wasn't bad.
I mean, an actual DVD
I mean, a DVD player was 200.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
extra $100
No
for a
brainer.
game, and yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's why Dreamcast didn't survive. And I feel bad about that because like
Yeah, it's a shame.
Because really, the GameCube couldn't play DVDs, and that one
Yeah.
had the piracy because it was the
Yeah.
mini discs, and then the Xbox was just the Xbox.
I mean, it wouldn't be.
that-
It wouldn't be till
So-
like the next generation. The next generation where I have a love with Dreamcast because like Dave, when I separated with my wife, divorced her, Dave actually bought me a Dreamcast with a bunch of games as a
Nice.
gift, and I remember
it's-
and
and they're actually good games.
yeah, it was like, and it was
Yeah.
cheap. It was supposed, and now it's like super expensive to get a Dreamcast. But back then, I think I don't know, he paid like
I think
next
it
to
was
nothing.
like
$40
$30 or
$40.
$40. Yeah, it wasn't much. It
Dreamcast
was
and like I don't know, it was like fucking a shit ton of games and like
Chamonix and
Yeah, everything.
like Echo the Dolphin,
all kinds of
and
shit.
a couple of
Yeah,
good
it's a
fighting
shame
games.
that Sega's best system is also their final.
Yeah.
But you know, but I learned to like. Then I learned through that. So the next generation, obviously. But I learned to love the Dreamcast and be like, wow, this is really sad that this didn't pan out for them. But that is exactly
Yeah.
why the DVD player. That's the
Yeah.
only reason, in my opinion. Oh well, good luck, guys.
Yeah.
They did it anyway. But the PS2, so many great games. Metal Gear Solid 2. love
I
it.
agree.
I mean, there's too many games. I don't even.
yeah.
There's so many
Like-
games, and like I love.
Where
I
to
mean,
begin?
I have a huge
Grand
collection.
Theft Auto 3.
Oh, Grand
Like,
Theft Auto. I
uh,
mean, that the game that changed
Yeah.
everything. That's. I mean, that's
Vice City,
on
yeah.
top of that. That's like the game that
Yeah.
like you want to complain about open world games. Well, you only have to take it back to fucking Grand Theft Auto 3. That's like the beginning
Yeah,
of the
pretty
end
much.
right there. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
hate
Yeah.
that shit.
Pretty much.
You gotta
Yeah.
blame that
that's
game.
wild.
I remember spending so many hours getting a 5-star wanted, and it was like you'd see how long you could survive with a 5-star wanted. Or you do the cheat codes and get like unlimited weapons or whatever.
That was
Yeah,
my first.
That was Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, that was my first 6-hour stint with a game where I started at 4. It didn't get done until 10 o'clock.
Yep. Kingdom Hearts, stuck on that for
Oh,
months.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, that
There's
thing
only
I
one.
last boss. Holy fuck, that dude.
There's only one game though for that console. It's got to be Urban Rain.
No,
Urban Rain.
fuck that shit, dude. Uh,
Never played it, so
No, but like, yeah. I mean, I was still. I mean, when I first got that console, I was like, oh shit, I can go rent games for this thing. Like, I can still rent
Yeah.
games.
I remember going to Blockbuster and getting games. Yeah,
I was
Like,
in that
Blockbuster,
too. That was
Hollywood.
so nice.
Yep.
You know, the whole game crazy thing.
Hollywood.
I mean, where's my fucking?
That's right. That was that whole era of like the Def Jam 4-player beat 'em up games and
Yep,
stuff like
yep.
that.
Yeah, well, when I first got it, was 2000, and you'd rent games, and then
My
by the end of it,
PS2
I'd put money.
Shadow the Hedgehog controller from Game
Yeah.
Crazy. I got for like $10. Like, fucking yeah, baby.
nice.
Got to get the Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller. That's a good one.
That's a hard one to come by.
Good luck.
But from this point on, I still have all the hardware I bought and all the most
It has
of the
the
games I bought.
drums. Wasn't that for?
Yeah.
Is that Xbox
Taiko
or
Drum
PS2?
Master. I think that's for PS2. Yeah.
Guitar
The
Freaks, yeah.
Tycho.
No, Taiko Drum Master.
The
with
Taiko,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
drum, the
Bongos.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
they're like bongos. They're Taiko drums.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It has the
that
sticks.
was-
It has the
That was
sticks.
PS2.
Isn't that the
Has
sticks?
the little dildos. Yeah.
Ah,
Dave has all the
Making
light
noise.
guns.
Yeah, I've got all the light guns because that was the other thing I like about this generation is all the like novelty controllers.
Oh,
and-
because you're now USB technology. Yeah, you could like the dance games too. Also had like DDR pads, the motion
had all the
sensing,
maps
time
and all
oh,
that
yeah.
crisis.
stuff.
I had DDR pads.
Yeah,
that's
I've got Time Crisis.
The
and all
eye
those.
camera. And you can
Uh-huh.
do the
Yeah,
eye
oh, yeah.
camera
Yeah.
shit. But the
yeah, the
funnest one is
iToy.
the Starsky and Hutch thing that these guys didn't really know
Oh,
about
yeah.
until I said, like, hey guys, Dave, bring the light guns over, and I set up a wheel, and then
Oh,
we had a
yeah.
wheel. You could like one guy could drive and one guy could shoot
Shoot.
the car.
I remember
Is like
that.
the greatest. It's like
It's
Yeah,
such a
it's
good
awesome.
mechanic.
what
yeah.
a
It was
great.
fun.
How to take a shit game and make it better is to put two things no one's going to buy
Yeah.
Yeah.
and use them in a
Right.
game. Like, hey guys, let's just do it. No one's gonna buy this game. No one's gonna do this.
We have the technology.
So when we did it, it's like, this is awesome. This is one of the awesomest things. In fact, we should probably relive that. We should like hook that up and do it.
We need a tube TV
We
because
do need
those
a
light
tube
guns.
TV.
Like,
We do need a tube TV. I got rid of my.
we need a big tube TV.
CRT.
yeah, a big
Because
tube.
our eyes don't
I
work.
also have a tiny one, Jared. We could use.
Yeah,
my
I just
tiny
have a 13-inch. Yeah,
one. Anyway.
but hey, it
It's a
has
measuring
VCR
contest.
on the bottom. Very important.
Mine's flat,
CRT
not
is bigger.
curved like yours. Anyway, okay. Well, this is a great era. It has a lot, but we
Yes.
only Dave and I love it, so it's not going to do well in the end. Oh my god, we are into the 7th generation of consoles. And this is supposed to be the move to HD. And
Mhm.
two of the manufacturers said, "Sure, let's do it." One of them said, "Fuck that."
Yeah, what's HD?
The
Right.
Wii was not HD, Jared.
Nope.
The PlayStation 3 and
Yeah.
Xbox 360 moved to HD. The Nintendo's Wii decided to say, "No, let's
You
buck."
could get component cables for
Waggle.
it.
Oh my
okay.
god!
You
Waggle.
can, and they still look like shit.
It looks like
Yeah,
shit.
they
I mean,
still
I
do, yeah.
I got the component cable for the
Those
PS2
were
for
old
Gran
people.
Turismo 3. It looks better, but not HD. I mean,
Yeah.
it's anyway.
I should hook my Wii up to this tube TV. It'd probably look way better than on my flat screen.
So with the release of the
Retro-
Microsoft Xbox 360 home console, this was followed by the release of the Sony PlayStation 3. They basically forced their hand to release it because it was not ready. And then November 16, 2006, Nintendo's Wii on November 19, 2006. Each new console introduced new technology. The 360 offered games rendered natively in high-definition video.
Oh, yeah, they're-
720, though.
You did-
Resolution, the PlayStation 3 offered HD movie playback via built-in 3D Blu-ray disc player. And the Wii focused on
Blu-ray.
integrating controllers with movement sensors. Way to go, Wii. Some Wii controllers could be moved about to control in-game actions, which enabled players to simulate real-world actions through movement during gameplay. By this generation, video game consoles have become an important part of the global infrastructure. It is estimated that video game consoles represent 25% of the world's general-purpose computational power in 2007. So this is the big step up. This is like
Oh, yeah.
where video
It
games...
hits the mainstream.
Big boy pants.
Yeah.
They're selling HD TVs. They're really getting
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
And like somehow Grandma drank the Kool-Aid because she's playing it. She's playing Wii bowling
The
in
Wii.
her
Oh, yeah.
in her
Yeah.
Wii's in every
retirement-
house.
in her retirement home.
I remember
But now-
seeing that.
I
Yeah,
remember
now you've got
delivering
all the
to like an
Famicom
Elks
people.
Lodge and they had a Wii hooked up to the TV. You know, it was like all these places had a Wii.
But also, you got all the people who were playing the NES, our age, that now have like their first jobs and are kind of somewhat established and have some money to spend, and
Oh yeah.
they like video
Yeah.
games, and
We
so it's
kind of
not-
grew up
It's
with
no
video
longer just the
games.
kids wanting these. It's like you've got that adult market is now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Flourishing.
who voted for this generation?
Me.
Aaron, did you?
Well, yeah, because it was actually the first console I actually bought with my very first paycheck.
Oh.
Actually, PS3. Yeah,
Nice.
it was near and dear. I mean, it's the first console I actually moved into my house with. I went out in Northwest Portland, and I also had a 360 after that. But that thing kind of just got dust. Definitely the PS3 ran supreme in my little apartment. So
So at
I
this
mean,
It's the
point,
first era that
Oh.
introduced online subscription fees
Oh yeah. Xbox Live.
and also free games with your subscription in a later era.
it was.
of the time. Yeah.
this generation started off very slow though.
Mhm.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It was very like it's funny. Everyone was very like skeptical of it.
Yeah.
which is funny. I mean, the PlayStation cost too much. Their console wasn't ready yet. It was like I bought a version that had like all the bells and whistles. Obviously, they would streamline that out eventually, but like and then the 360 was just constantly dying. Like they rushed theirs out just to
Red Ring.
make sure it was
Red
out
Ring
ahead
of
of PlayStation. But it kept burning out. So, and then the funny thing about the PlayStation is like would eventually burn out. Like it lived for a long
CPU
time,
like sliding down,
and then it would just separate from the board.
Yeah,
it would just separate from the board. But that was a longer set versus the 360 that would just do it right away. But they said fuck it.
I red ringed,
which is wild.
How many red rings did we have?
Red.
I never had a 360, so I
there's
never
three.
got it. Oh, all three of you.
Red ring.
Wild.
Yeah, I bought mine second hand, and they actually honored the warranty and sent me a new one, which I still have that works.
That's wild.
Heck yeah.
See, I never red ringed. I never had that lucky red ring.
Nice. Yeah.
No,
Well, like I said, dust collect.
it says something about how popular the 360 was, though, that it sold almost the same number as the PlayStation 3, even with all its technical
look at these
issues.
numbers.
It was a
Really
good
close.
console.
Yeah,
It had like really amazing online games, like Gears of War was
Left 4
introduced
Dead.
there. Like Unreal technology from Epic really took off in console gaming at that point. So
Well,
there's
it was
lot of really
it was a
cool
huge
stuff.
success. I think ultimately the reason the PlayStation wins in the generation is because Europe and Japan. But in America, if you look at it, like it was the Halo, the Gears of War, and then ultimately the Call of Duty box, and that is what led it to its dominance in America.
Yeah, Modern Warfare. Remember that? That was
Also, the price. I mean, you couldn't avoid a $600 price tag. For
right.
a
But
very long
ultimately,
time.
Sony would back off that, rebuild their console,
True.
and then release it at the same price. Ultimately, but
Yep.
initially Sony was like they were doing the Neo Geo game.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see that kind of thing again, where the price will come out and then they'll release the smaller systems, the price will go down, all that stuff. Like even though like PS5 Slim
PS4
costs
did
the
that, I
same, I
think.
think.
Yeah, about the same.
Like, and it doesn't have a disk drive unless you want to pay extra.
Didn't the PS4 do that? Like it eventually, but then the PS4 Pro came out. More.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is ultimately like of all the three that I voted for, this is my favorite. Like, it didn't start out that way, and like, when I was like thinking about my list, but when I go back and play some of those older, obviously the Nintendo one, it's near and dear in my heart because of what it created, but those games don't sit with me as well. PS2 I loved collecting for, but when I go back and play those games, it doesn't hit so much. But PS3, because it's HD, it still sits in a place where it still holds up.
Yeah.
And I love the elegance of the PS3 OS.
It was nice.
It's so just simple.
Yeah.
It's not crazy and weird. It's
No
just
pop-ups. Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that. How
The cross media bar, XMB.
yeah, the Xbox is so messy and loud and obnoxious still, and it's just like I don't know. Anyway, I love ultimately I love this generation the most because of it. There's a lot of games I still like. I love Metal Gear Solid 4. I love Bayonetta. I love Mass Effect. I love. There's just
100%.
I think there's ultimately there's more
Big
games.
franchises.
The Saboteur I'm gonna replay soon.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I mean,
there's so many games that I think I would prefer to replay at this point, at this generation. That I think.
Yeah, there's a bunch I've played in the last 2 or 3 years on this generation, and they still hold up. If they're good games, they're good games. So
Right.
the other thing I like about this generation over the one that followed is the game is on the disc. Because I had Xbox 360 in this generation, I never had any problem with buying a disc, putting it in, and it would load something onto the hard drive maybe for speed, but never bugged me about connecting to the internet or like waiting a bazillion years for the 500 gigabyte download, So
Oh yeah, but installation times were immense and loading times are trash in a lot of games. That's the hard bit about that generation.
It is true. It is a little difficult,
Yeah,
but
the
it
loading
is.
is-
I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, it's also the generation ushered in the games.
Bloodborne.
No, okay, sure, but like I'm talking about like you're talking like Grand Theft Auto 5 again. That would be released on 20 million consoles after this, or Destiny. Like Destiny, I
Yep.
remember playing the beta on Destiny, or
We forget what we think is PlayStation 4 games actually came out on these systems.
PS3. You know, like this little like.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's funny. I don't know. So I have I
Yeah.
have an incredible fondness. I like this one the best.
Or I meant
Games
Demon
were sexy.
Souls.
Skyrim, fucking
Yeah.
Skyrim. On
Yeah.
this
Oh yeah,
console.
Skyrim, 100%.
There was still a lot of great games coming out all the time that you were interested in. And
Right.
Yeah.
This is like where also this is where like Mortal Kombat makes its comeback with Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah.
Like they like
Yep.
refresh. You know, I don't. There's a lot of. I mean, Street Fighter comes back too with 4, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
In 3,
Oh.
Yes.
PS3, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I recall.
Like they had
And
been
then-
kind of away for a long time, and then
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then there's the two portables, the PlayStation Portable and the Nintendo.
they did
Yeah,
they did
PSP.
try
Yeah.
some
Oh, yeah, I
stuff.
remember the
They did
PSP.
Yeah.
try some stuff.
I wish I'd
Yeah.
have kept that thing.
You know what's funny is you think about the PlayStation Portable, as like, oh, I don't know anyone who had one of those or what. It sold 82 million units.
Loved it.
And
I had a white one.
the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, they only sold 86 and 84
Yeah.
and 87.
Dang.
Is that why?
It's like, yeah,
That's
there's
nuts.
a lot of people had them.
You
And
know,
then
I
what?
wanted to
obviously
afford a
it-
PlayStation
You know
Vita.
what's another thing that's funny
Yeah.
about the PlayStation era is like, you know, Nintendo gets a lot of shit for doing wacky and goofy things. PlayStation was doing some pretty wacky and goofy things. I mean, you had folding at home, you had PlayStation
Yeah.
Home. I love
yeah,
fucking
I forgot
PlayStation
that.
Home, dude.
Yeah, we spent some time in there. Yeah.
Spent some. I was on there until they kicked me off when it was gone. Like my character just sat on the couch in her house until like the server disconnected, and like I had a lot of fun on that. That's this dumb thing, but it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
do something like that again. Like they were doing they were doing Nintendo dumb things, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, but I feel like that was a dumb thing that they could afford to do, and I feel like that's a dumb thing they could still afford to do because it's kind of
There's
fun...
like sponsored brands in there.
Yeah, it's basically just a giant commercial for the brand and its licenses, you know. But it's like
It was
People
yeah,
run around
It was
and-
like
like I'm a big
yeah. I
kids,
mean, it
I'm
had
in my
a
high
really
heels,
cool idea
I'm
that I
like
wish stuck.
catfishing
I'm sorry.
dudes.
No, that it had like game hubs where you could meet up
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
look over the map,
Yeah.
and you can initiate matches that would load the game from home.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And it was really cool. That would be a neat little aspect that any of these consoles could add at this point.
Did you did PlayStation Home, Scott? Didn't you?
I did. I actually booted up my old PlayStation 3 and I was going through old messages, like shit talking we would do. But then I found this gallery of screenshots and I was like, oh my God, all the screenshots I made from home. I had my with my trophies that I had earned during the game. Like the game rewarded you with virtual little items, and I decorated my trophy shelf, and I had a couch. I had the Fat Princess chair.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I had catered that world, my little room, my little custom room with all these little decorations. So there's a lot of love put into it.
And
I
now
didn't
that's just
actually spend real
PlayStation
money,
Stars.
It just, yeah, it's like I can now, yeah.
I wish they would just.
But it was nice to look at all the screenshots and just
Yeah.
reminisce and be like, man, yeah, I love those things. I still screenshot to this day just to have that like memory if I beat a game or something.
sure,
You have
Yeah.
like a little photo memory of
I
accomplishment.
guess that is this generation begins some of that, doesn't it? Isn't that start here, the screenshotting, or no?
That was PlayStation 3.
No, maybe a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it had to have
Yeah,
been
PS
PlayStation 3 because I
PS3
did it
had
at PS
the-
Home. Yeah, so they definitely started
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it here.
Yeah, because this is the generation
So
of the Kinect.
sharing and this
Also,
and
yeah,
PlayStation
PlayStation
Move
Move.
and all that
So
stuff.
you've-
Yeah.
You start getting the
Messaging
cameras, yeah.
on
messaging.
system.
Like all the like
Yeah.
connective,
right.
connecting with your friends and like all the. But like,
Yeah.
did any of you guys used to do PlayStation the folding at home. I would just turn on
Yeah.
my PlayStation.
Yeah, it was a
just-
great visual
just
to
let it
watch
do
it
it.
do its
It's like I don't know
cancer
what
research.
I don't know what kind of AI shit is doing, but it's doing it.
It was just pleasant to look at.
yeah,
And it was
right?
like
You just have it running in the
I'm
background.
not playing my system, but I wouldn't mind throwing 8
And-
kilohertz of energy to
Right.
cancer research.
And
sure.
if it's helping, if it's
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if it ever did. You don't know. Who knows? But what a
I
crazy.
don't know if those stats
Who
ever
knows?
came out.
Dude, you know,
Yeah.
here, no, we're talking about these two things, but like Jared installed Linux on his fucking PS3
Yeah, I did.
because like the
Back
console,
when you could.
the console would allow you to do that, and then they just took that out of it, and then people sued them because of it, because it didn't allow you to do it anymore. But like, yeah, they allowed you that you could run fucking Linux on the machine. It could be a Linux machine. That's wild. Like the all this shit they said. Oh, sure, go ahead, do it. It's like that's some Nintendo level shit. When Nintendo just has a Wii U and a Waggy controller, you know, it's like okay. I don't know. I feel like the PS3 has so much higher level, like crazy shit going on during that generation. I mean, yeah, it was way expensive. It did
Yeah.
move down, but like, man, they really
Right.
they really like let you do some crazy shit. And then they had like they had the music thing and the movie thing. They had all kinds of stuff going on with it that all
Yeah.
failed and
Yep.
they canceled. But it was just like
Oh,
it's funny.
so with folding, let's see. I'm just going to read the final paragraph. These teams and individual PS3 users have contributed significantly to the project's overall computing power, with over 15 million PS3 users donating over 100 million computational hours.
Man,
That's cool.
it is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just turn it on, you know, and I'm just hanging out.
Wish you could just download the visualizer. How cool would that be to have it on your PS4?
Yeah.
Cool.
You have the global planet. I mean, you could spin the globe around and see
Yeah.
where.
And
Just
supposedly every little
was
like
cool.
light was like a PS3 doing it, and it would just kind of move around. It's just like
that was
I'm
so
a
cool.
part of something.
Oh yeah.
I'm creating
Tetris Effect does
I'm
that.
creating the Terminator.
Do you remember there'd be like one little dot in Brazil, and it'd be like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the one coolest person in Brazil right there.
That's the one person not
One
playing
guy.
the Sega Genesis right now.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we've talked about the 360 and the PS3, but like, who had a Wii? I know Dave bought a Wii and sold it.
I had a Wii.
I had a
I
Wii
played a lot of it. Yeah.
and sold it. Yeah. It was,
I
yeah. I didn't
Legend
play
of
it.
Zelda.
but-
I played
Mario.
Wii Sports with my parents, obviously, and my brother and that, and it was fun.
Smash
And I-
Bros. Brawl.
I had a good time with it, but it was a shit console. Looking back,
Mario Kart.
all the casual
No, that wasn't
friends had
It was
Yeah.
Wii Sports, and no, that was it. It was just a Wii Sports.
I tried playing
Just
Mario.
like
Mario
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
It sucks.
Give me
Red
vertigo.
Steel.
I'm halfway through Galaxy 2, and eventually
sorry.
I'll
I just
probably pick
remember
it up
when those
again.
consoles dropped. Friend of the
Yep.
show, Jason McIntosh, bought a PS3, but like Dave bought a. I thought you bought a PS3 and a Wii at launch, and then you sold them both.
Oh yeah, I did. I scalped.
You scalped some
The,
at a higher
the,
price.
the Wii was a great scalp.
Yeah.
It was like $200 because I managed to get like a 20% coupon. And
Yeah.
I put it on eBay and it got bid up to like $500 odd, which was great because I was only making like $7 an hour or something stupid.
Yeah.
And the PS3, you just
Like
kind of
minimum
not broke
wage.
even, but like a little higher or something, maybe.
I think I made like, by the time I paid all the eBay and everyone else, it's like maybe I made $20 and it was
Oh,
like,
jeez.
Yeah.
Almost worth it.
Almost.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the Wii being like a success story.
Yeah, I did think about doing a Switch too, but I was like,
You can find it
Yeah, I
everywhere
could have
right
bought
now.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have
Yeah.
bought one
Yeah,
when I
I
was
didn't even
working.
look, I was like, don't care.
Yeah, I'm good.
You
Laserdisc
you just be
players or
stuck
where
with
is
it.
that?
Laserdisc player. It's always a good price.
Yeah.
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc.
Okay. Let's move on to the 8th generation of video game consoles. I mean, obviously, PS4.
Mhm.
What would Xbox call their next console? Xbox 720? Xbox
That was-
the return? Xbox, we're going to beat Sony finally? No. We're going to call it the Xbox One? Cool.
One.
Good.
Yeah.
Good choice.
For
choice.
reasons. I don't know if that was ever clear.
And
The
then,
Xbox gonna screw you over.
and then there would be 2 Nintendo consoles in this generation: the Nintendo Wii U
And then the Switch.
And the Switch.
and then the Switch.
Goodbye, you.
Wii U. Wii U. Wii U. Which is arguably Nintendo's greatest console of all time. You guys can fight me about it, but it's awesome. And I think there was a lot of stuff going on here about how all the consoles were going to control the living room and be the blah blah blah.
Yep.
And Sony and Xbox came out with a really aggressive stance on what they were going to do, and
Connect.
and the Kinect and all that. I mean, the Kinect came out with the 360, and that was really popular then. But then how it was going to work in with the next. I guess we didn't really talk about the Kinect in the 360 era.
That's okay.
We should have, but
I forgot it came out for 360.
but they were talking about how the controlling of the games and you couldn't really share games like a disc and all this stuff. And then Sony just took that and they made a little video where they just show Shu and this Anthony Boyes. Is that who it is? I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just sharing a game by just giving it to each other, and it that pretty much destroyed Xbox. Xbox
immediately
never recovered from that.
They killed themselves. Remember, they were saying it'd have to connect to the internet
to
24
share.
hours.
Yeah,
always.
Otherwise, it would disable all your games.
Yeah, and Sony's like, oh, we can win this right now, and they just go back. They go backstage. They shoot a little video, and then it was just released as this official PlayStation video, and then it's just.
It was during E3. It's like they did it behind the scenes at E3 and released it.
After that, Xbox just spent their entire next 2-3 years backpedaling on all their promises on that shit, and then
they really screwed themselves over by insisting that it came with the Kinect that no one wanted, or and half the software didn't use, and it was
which is wild.
There's an extra $100 on your price, right?
But here's the other thing that's wild about it: the Kinect is really just a camera. All the consoles still just released with a camera, except the Xbox. Now, you know what I'm saying? Sony has a camera for stuff, the Switch, but Xbox will not release a camera with their console. Heaven forbid they release a camera for their console, because people are like, isn't that wild to think about? It's just it's just a fucking webcam, basically. It's just wild.
The Kinect wasn't actually a bad piece of kit. It should have just been optional. It was when they bundle it in, it meant they jacked the price up, and it was they were already. I think they were at $500 when it first came out.
Anyway, ultimately,
the PlayStation 4 was $400, so it's
the Xbox One, pretty good console, pretty strong, pretty. My understanding is it's a pretty good console. I've never played one. PS4, obviously, just super popular. It ultimately ended up being. I mean, that's the Destiny box. That's what we all played Destiny on. We were playing Destiny all the time. It was, I have the Destiny version. I don't know what Scott was playing on his PS4. Probably Kingdom
I was late
Hearts.
to that game. Yeah, I was really late to the PS4 game. I didn't even own it until maybe Nier Automata.
Oh, damn.
And it was a lot of catch up. And then someone told me about library things. Library rentals. So it was basically catching up to every.
Did you have a Switch then? You had a Switch before PS4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have a
Wii U? I got my Switch on day one.
Did you have a Wii U?
Never owned a Wii. So never owned a GameCube, a Wii, Wii U, N64. I was out of the Nintendo game for a very long time.
So it's really just the handheld.
The glaze had run dry. The glaze had been.
But is the handheld the reason that brought you back to the Switch, to the Nintendo? Yeah.
Yeah, because I did. Well, yeah. So I had a Game Boy Advance. I had the DS. It was just the home console systems did nothing for me. It felt like a kid's toy.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the Wii U that I would have bought the system for.
I think this generation we talked Dave into coming to PlayStation.
Yeah.
So he.
I did vote for this generation, by the way.
Oh,
you didn't have to try too hard because
isn't it your third? You already
no, this is my third.
Is that your third?
Yeah. So I did Super NES.
Aaron, are you voting 4 times then?
I think this is my last. The PS3 is my last vote for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the honorable mentions, but
6, 7,
Yeah.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 6. Someone voted twice. All right.
I had fifth, sixth, and seventh.
So Dave had 5th, 6th, and 7th. 5th, 6th, and 7th. And Scott had... Oh, my God. You guys are going to make me fucking...
3rd, 4th, 5th.
Yeah. Oh, hold on a second.
Real simple.
making it easy, aren't we?
Jerry, go ahead and talk about this
Yeah,
generation.
it's more or less just how it kind of connected all of us, and we've all stomped around a lot online with these games, and it's mainly that. It's I still use my PS4. That's what my daughter plays on most of the time, and I'm still buying games for it. You know, it's not even that. It's like I can buy all these and play them on my PS5, and buy one copy and play them between the systems. You know, it's like just a convenience factor, and a lot of amazing games. This is where, you know, I think where like on the 360 generation, like indies and all that stuff got pretty big, but now like those indie companies are kind of mastering it. The tools they have available are just absurd, and like most of the big ones are immense games. Like these are independent games that are matching quality of big publishers, you know. So it's like you can get so much, and my kids are having fun with it. You know, it's just merging of eras, I guess, because this is the generation that my kids really got into it as well. That's is where PlayStation VR came in. Also, my daughter and I have played a lot of that together.
Yeah,
the system is.
And I still play from time to time. I just bought a VR game, so I need to throw the bucket on again. You know, it's like I don't know. There's just a lot of cool things that have happened with the PS4 generation.
Mid-generation, like more powerful consoles, like the Pro and the X. You know, when it became like, oh, we'll just make one with 2 graphics cards in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of where they figured out their online presence. It's kind of where they... I mean, I think maybe PS3, the last generation, maybe it started bubbling. But this generation is really the indie video games become huge.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're their last generation figuring themselves out. But then I feel like this is where they really find their footing, and there's a lot of
this
like
is where they get
smaller
the
games.
stores sorted out and like make it easy to buy them and find them. And
yeah, and as much as you guys don't like remasters and stuff, there's like big collections of games that have come out on the system from days of yore, and they're like a big collection, like Castlevania collection, Contra collection, all that stuff. You can play like everything on this generation of system.
How can we make
and
money
I
off
love
of
that.
sucker who loves
Yeah, and
Castlevania?
I have a Switch, and I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into my Switch. Mostly like a ton of indie games, like lots and lots of indie games. Even continuations of NES games, like Blaster Master. You know, there are like 3 new Blaster Master games on the Switch, and they're all amazing. You know, like you can just keep going, and there's so many good games that, it's just so much accessibility, and it's other than browsing the Nintendo Switch store, you know, it all works really well. Like just between all that.
how long do you think it'll be before Nintendo figures out online?
Oh, I don't think they ever will. No, I mean, we'll see what Switch 2 does. Like, I don't know how different it is,
Same storefront,
or if it's
isn't it?
any different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just want to.
I mean, both
but
I want to break.
Microsoft
I want to break in
and
here
Sony
really
did it.
quickly. Aaron, I think you did vote twice. Which the 3rd or 4th generation, Nintendo or Super Nintendo generation? I feel like you voted there twice.
I'll go with Nintendo, honestly. That's the one that I feel the most fondness to, because that's what got me into gaming, so scratch off Super Nintendo.
All right. Gotcha. Good to go. All right, continue on. I love this generation too. But I also feel like this is also the generation where we create the couch co-op. I'm in love. I love games, but I'm then also searching to do something else. Like it's not holding me like it was in the PS2, PS3 generation. I'm looking to. I wish we had done it sooner. I wish we hadn't waited so long. Like we should. Like only looking back on it, greedily and like from a creator standpoint, I wish we had like. Why did we wait so long to do it? But it is kind of where like, oh man, let's capitalize on this, and then we didn't quite do it. But that's just me from a producer standpoint. But it is part of me being like, well, I want to talk about this stuff now. I feel like I've gathered enough knowledge from my time in PS2 and PS3 that in PS4 it's like, oh, maybe we can make a show and talk. And I feel like we all have been doing this together for so long.
Yep.
We've been playing games since the PS2 era. And we were playing games. Like, maybe we can put some content together and do this stuff. And so PS4 just kind of seemed like a time where it gave me this idea that I could be creative in this field, and then so that's what I kind of equate it to. But there's a lot of great games like Nier Automata, there's so many great games. Control. There's Destiny 1 and 2. Destiny.
But it's also the era where games have too much stuff in it.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, too much, but I love it. It's so good.
Yes, I actually love that one, and I don't usually like.
But it's too much
when they're too big. But I platinumed it.
It's so big. It's too much.
Big games.
But there's a lot of great small games too. I mean, there's been Resogun launched with Resogun, great game. Hey, it's fucking Rocket. It's the fucking Rocket League game. I mean,
Rocket League.
Yeah, simple small game.
See, the PS4, Switch, absolutely. I don't know, just it's been real good. I have a Xbox Series S. That's the next generation, is it?
Yep.
It's hard to tell.
S.
Yeah,
Series.
Series.
Yeah, Series. Okay, Xbox One.
Xbox One, you didn't get. I don't think anyone got it.
I've played a couple of those because they're all compatible with Series.
But I don't think any of us bought an Xbox One.
No, none of us did.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny too. Everyone complains about how short these generations are, but like if you look, like I said earlier, like they were short generations to begin with. They got longer. It does feel like the PlayStation 4 generation was an incredibly long fucking generation when I think about it. Like,
that
seems like a lifetime ago.
I mean, we're technically still in the PlayStation 4 generation.
Yeah, it's still around.
2013.
I don't think they've stopped manufacturing it, have they? I don't know.
No, I don't think they have actually. I mean, because before that, the 6th generation lasted quite a while because that started with the PlayStation 2.
I mean, the PlayStation 2 lasted till 2013. Destiny launched the beta in 2013, if I remember correctly. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. In fact, you could get a pirate version of Netflix disc to run on your PS2 back then. If you,
oh my god,
you could get it to work. The disc, you could get it to run on it. If you had the modem thing and stuff.
Gosh, yeah.
That's some homebrew shit, but you could get it to run. And that's wild. Anyway, that's some funny shit. I don't know. It's just, but yeah, I just like when I think about the PS4, I was like, man, the PS4. I bought my PS4 so long ago. That was like 3 houses ago. I lived in a fucking loft. I don't know. I feel like I was like a 30-year-old, just like porno star back then, just making fetish porn and like it's like what? No, I'm just like this old dude that
making fetish porn.
Well, privately maybe, guys.
If you're into yourself is what you're saying.
I mean, Dave never was in any, but Aaron and Jared were in the fetish porn stuff. So Jared comes back, he's like, "Why are we talking about this shit?"
No.
Yeah, talking about eras of fun.
Derailed.
Eras of fun. No, these guys never got railed. I mean, they wanted. I mean, Aaron might have wanted to get railed. He looked like he wanted to, but I mean, maybe by one of the superheroines. You know, he probably would have done it, right, Aaron? Yeah, bro.
Maybe. You never
I mean,
know.
he was single back then. See,
Yes,
that's
I
also
was.
another thing. He
That's
was,
true.
Like, you know, I mean, Jared was single for a time back in that old PS4 era, right? Yeah, I was single too.
A little bit, maybe.
Just
no.
I mean, 2014.
No, because I was playing Skyrim with Elisa.
That's a PS3 game, bro.
Yeah.
That's 2011.
So I wasn't single for PS4.
Oh, I guess you're right. I guess you're right.
Yeah,
Okay.
he wasn't, because I remember going round and
I mean,
Because I bought
okay.
PS4 on launch.
with Destiny. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't. So I was, but if I'm thinking like, so I got married in August 2014, and I probably got my console just before that. Anyway,
Because I was playing Final Fantasy 14 when Elisa was pregnant.
we're trying to like, you know, map our generational
Yeah.
mappings of our relationships.
our generational mappy men.
But, you know, mid-generation, you know, that's Scott comes around. What, Nier Automata?
Yeah.
When that releases,
sounds
he's
about
he's
right.
on the first show, and we're asking the listeners if I should dress up as 2B
That's right.
for fucking Retro Expo.
I may not have had a PlayStation 4 when I joined the couch. I
It's possible.
think I was still playing it.
We
in
we peer pressured him.
Wait,
and
yeah,
it's like,
there's a lot.
Yeah, I think you were doing the Switch because I remember you were sharing it with your friends.
You
You,
were-
didn't own
yeah.
the Switch. You were like part owner or something like that.
There was some kind of weird sharing of the Switch.
Yeah.
my break room at my job had a PS4, so I would just play there. No, I had Switch Day one.
No, I maybe he was talking about his like sharing of his online. Were you sharing
Oh
online?
yeah, like sharing
Like,
the online
like
account.
family
Yeah.
account maybe.
probably.
But yeah, and that's like mid PS4 when Scott comes.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Um,
We'd already played many. I think most of us had platinumed Rocket League by then.
Rocket League, and
Yeah.
I think we were. I mean, we were kind of still playing Destiny, but I think we might have been almost done with Destiny by that
Yeah.
point. Almost like some of us might have hardcore might have still been playing it, but I think the heavy duty stuff was done.
No more raids.
It's so funny to like kind of gauge your life around this stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I was
then-
never into Destiny. I remember suffering through 20 back-to-back couch co-op episodes, and I'm like, dear God, are they still talking about
yeah.
Destiny?
Yep.
And I would listen to it at 5 times speed, or Destiny, like, okay.
Shout out to Tony Death, baby.
It was,
Right?
like, you guys talk about pain, but it's a game that I have no familiarity with being discussed
Only because you know
week
it
after
from,
week after
yeah.
week. So I was like, all right, I have to do this. All 300 episodes.
Yeah.
A quarter of them being Destiny discussion.
What is, I mean, it is kind of the game that kind of launched a
Yeah.
lot of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah. I was in the early days.
What's funny though is it's not a game you could go back and play and really capture the feeling of it. You know, like a lot of games.
I don't know about that. I disagree with that.
I don't know. I don't.
Dave and
it
I,
wouldn't be the
not
same.
Dave, Jared, Josh. Who am I talking about? Bill and I went back and we ran through the original Destiny from beginning to end, and then did the raid, and we met a lot of new people, chatted, we streamed it all. It was a lot of fun. Like it was, and I feel like you could do that with Destiny 2. You just have to like dedicate the time to do it. I think that's just the thing, but
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. But like, Bill was willing to do that with Destiny 1, because we had during that time period a little later actually, but we had decided like, is Destiny 1 better than Destiny 2? And then we decided to play Destiny 1 all the way through again, and it was just like, it was super fun. We had it was a lot of fun. I don't know. So I kind of disagree with you, Dave. I think if you really wanted to go back, play through it with a group of people, I think it's awesome. If you do it solo, yeah, it's probably a
Yeah.
boring, shitty experience. What else happened this generation? Oh, I wanted to quickly talk about, because we just briefly talked over it, the Wii U. I somehow was never going to buy this console. No one else was going to buy this fucking console. No one understood what this console was or what it did.
I did.
Okay.
That's why I didn't buy it.
Great. Awesome. Good for you, Joe. Awesome. I get a fucking message from a friend. It's like, hey, you want a Wii? It's like, sure, I'll take a Wii. So I went over to his house to pick it up, and I grabbed the box, and I'm holding it, and I'm like, you don't want this? He's like, no, okay. Sure. Yeah, okay. All right. So I just, yeah, it's good to see you. I'll talk to you later. Walked out, put it in the car. He's like, Brent's like, that's quick. He's like, yeah. He just gave me a new fucking Wii U, I think. It's just like, and she's like, what? It's like, she has no console. It's like, well, the Wii was the old console. The Wii U just came out. So in my head, I mean, like, didn't want it. Is it hot? Who fucking knows what it is? I'm not, I don't know. I'm just going to get out of here and take this console. It's like brand fucking new. Like 2-3 weeks from launch. And I just like, all right. And so then I just became the guy who played some Wii U games. So Bayonetta 2, loved it. I have Breath of the Wild on Wii U. Played it on Wii U. Liked it to a point, and then just got bored. Because it's basically, here's the thing about fucking Breath of the Wild. It's a Ubisoft game. It's Ubisoft Zelda.
Climb the tower.
Listen. Yeah. Everyone wants to give it love and be like, oh, it's never done anything. It's been the newest thing. It's never done. Nintendo's never done anything. Yeah, but Ubisoft's done all this shit already, and this is just Ubisoft Zelda. You fuckers.
Right.
And like,
just Ubisoft hasn't been on Nintendo platform for a long time.
Why do you give this Game of the Year status when it's just a fucking Ubisoft game, and you won't give Ubisoft a Game of the? It's fucking Nintendo bullshit. Anyway, played it. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoyed it. I have Pokken Tournament. The Pokemon Tekken fighting game, fucking awesome to play. It's a lot of fun. I love I have, you know what? I have the Metro Prime trilogy on it. I've only played the first Metroid Prime on it, but haven't played the other two. Never going to probably, but I have them. It's a great, I like the console. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. No, but I can say that because I got it for fucking free.
Yeah.
So suck a dick. Hey, Nintendo, I fucking hate Nintendo Switch. But you send me a Switch 2 for free, I'll fucking love it. I'll suck that dick all day long.
Hit that guy up.
Hit me up, bro. I'll make content 24/7. Suck that dick. Anyway, I mean, you know, I ain't got no Nintendo glaze, but you know, if you want to give me some, you want to spray it all over my face, I'll take it. I'll fucking make videos. Anyway. I just wanted to talk about the Wii U. I actually think it's a pretty cool console. Not that shitty. I like the thing. I like the concept behind it. Anyway, so. All right. We're almost there, guys. I know it's a long video. I know it's a long episode. I mean, you guys can bail whenever you want. 9th generation. Technically the current generation. I mean, there is a 10th generation. None of us have it. Yep. We're probably not talking about the Switch too, so this is basically the final one. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and also / I guess the Switch, but Switch is last generation, but it's part of this. I mean, it's a weird thing, but it's part of this generation.
I looked at one list and Switch 2 is part of this current generation.
They're putting this. They're putting it with this one. So yeah, Wikipedia is saying it's the next generation, and it's going to be in line with
Generation 10.
Next generation. Yeah. Anyway,
they put the Switch in with the last, but you know, and then the Switch 2 with the PlayStation.
Yeah, I just didn't vote for this generation because it's current. You know, like I would have given it all the same reasons as the PS4, but faster, and you know,
pretty much.
I love my PS5.
Me too.
I think I don't vote for this generation because, like, and I think this is probably going to be similar to what Dave's going to say, but I'm suffering from some pretty heavy video game burnout. Like
Right.
I also don't like I understand like the fidelity is going up and like some of it's becoming harder for us to see, and it's like if you don't have the right 4K TV, like you're not seeing what other people are seeing, you know? You're like you're seeing shitty 4K versus like fucking crazy awesome 4K. It's like it's getting to a point where like you need to have a beast PC. You need to have a beast home theater system. Like the console is
Right.
only, it plays the game fine, but you're not seeing the awesome shit unless you have an awesome fucking setup,
Yeah,
Right.
I don't have all the tech in my
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's starting to become this like really weird thing, and then
Mhm.
like the games, yeah, they look awesome, but they're not different than last gen. Like they're not. Like,
I'm missing the. For
there's
me,
some-
I'm missing the
Not as
games.
big.
Some of them are like Death Stranding is offering like some new concept, like, but they're not. There's not. They're.
No, it's
Like,
It's getting harder to tell the difference.
But how
Right.
how I mean I won't
jump from state
use
of-
I'll just use games like how much longer can you just play Mario jumping into a tube? How longer can you play Call of Duty just shooting a guy in the head? Like those concepts
Assassin's Creed, like
we've been doing these
2025.
concepts for like 3-4 generations now. Like how much longer can I play that game? Like
right.
like we
Yeah.
need some new concepts, or we need some more like choice or movement. And I think that's where the indie kind of side, like you look at like Balatro, like Poker 2 or Solitaire 2 is like this, like, why is this game so fundamentally entertaining? Because it's like different. No one's done that before. It's like I've never
Right.
seen this. Like this is like so outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Take a game like Call of Duty or Mario, fucking like really switch it up. Like really fucking switch it up. Don't give me a new fucking elephant suit. Don't put him in a fucking mammoth or a pig suit. Like really fucking change it up. But they're not going to do that. It's like all slow
you play it
iterations.
safe.
Army Millet.
Yeah, safe iterations that are just like, and it just seems I'm just like burnt out on that. Like I don't. Why do I
even
want to
feel
play
like
this?
I would go one step further and say some of them aren't even iterations. They're just like larger versions, like with more to do of the previous game.
I will say when I go to
New
PAX,
skins.
like the PAX and the giant video game conventions, like it isn't like Kid and Candyland anymore. It's like, oh cool, another Tekken. Oh cool, another
Right.
Soulsborne game. I'm not waiting in line for 2 hours to play that. I go to the indie booth, check out some new concepts, maybe like dabble in some like just something different. I'm watching screens of the exact same game. It's like play a shoot 'em up. It's just
Right.
like Call of Duty. It's just like Gears of War. I'm not waiting
But
in
then
line.
it's-
I'm not excited for that.
It's
So-
also wild, just the fucking amount of games being developed, though, dude.
Yeah.
It is wild.
Yeah.
It is staggering. Like,
More than ever before.
and yet you
Mhm.
hear there's constant stories about layoffs and studios going
Oh
under.
my
And it's just
God,
like
yeah.
it's wild to think like there's no money, but there's so much money. Like,
Right.
it's like, what are you guys looking for here? What is? I don't know, man. And I'm just burnt out on it all. And I think that's kind of what my monologue at the beginning was about. Like, there's so much noise out. I don't care anymore. Like, there's got to be
It's hard
something
to
that stands
separate
out.
the
Something
the
that's
good
just
stuff.
Hitting us with 3 different displays in the same week too was overwhelming. Like, don't they stagger that? Shouldn't it be state of play, pause, breathe a little bit? No, it's like state of play. You're still recovering from that. You're still making your pre-order, typing in your pre-order. Nope, here's another one. And then the next day, Xbox has, well, like, shut up. let me soak in the first wave.
I don't want to spend
Mhm.
my money on
Having-
any of it.
No,
Right.
it's too much. It's backlog
And you know
forever.
what? Xbox doesn't want you to spend your money on it. They just want you to do Game Pass. Like the
Game
whole
Pass.
like value, the devaluation of video games is happening, just like the devaluation of film and music is happening. Like
Yeah.
but like video games are incredibly expensive to make, even more expensive than movies and music. It's like it's wild that they're like, hey, there's this game that's been in development for 6 years, cost us like probably $200 million, but yeah, just do
Well,
the
here-
do the
here's a-
subscription.
Here's an example of how the sheer volume of games that are coming out with Steam numbers. Back in 2006, Steam was coming out with like 70 games. Let's see, 2023 was 14,191. Last year it was 18,758. So far, just in 2025, is it's over 8,000.
8,000?
Just this year.
Just right now.
We're in June.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Just to give you some reference,
So many.
18,000 games a year is almost 50 games a day.
And so 8,000 is what, Dave?
Oh, God,
Numbers.
8,000.
How many is
then we're-
8,000 games in not even a year? What is it, June?
That's absurd.
6
Yeah.
months?
June. We're
So
gonna.
call it 180 days or whatever. We're not
15.
quite that much.
Yeah.
But that,
100 games.
yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, a
Many.
lot of people are making games. It's crazy. Of varying quality, of course. There a lot of those are shovelware,
Oh, yeah.
copyware, AI copies, that kind of
I mean,
Flash
Dave's
hentai
Dave's
stuff,
played
like
them
in the
his
Switch
demos.
store.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
There's a lot
Mobile
of trash to sift
mobile
through.
games are a thing too. You gotta
Mhm.
factor that
Yeah.
in. Mobile Minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how
Right.
many mobile games are released every flipping day?
But that's
Jeez.
I think this
They're
is
all
the
the same,
funny.
pretty
I
much.
think this is why I haven't. That's why I didn't vote for the last generation, and I didn't vote for this generation. I feel like it's really become, very,
Big.
capitalism and the gaming industry has just really figured out how to really maximize. Well, not really maximize because they don't know what they were doing, but it's just. PS3 was kind of like, oh, we're changing to HD. We don't know what we're doing. We're trying to figure it out. We're doing a lot of weird shit.
Yeah, we want to do some online.
Yeah,
but
we're not sure how it works. They kind of figured it out in PS4, and now PS5 is just like, fuck it. We're just like, it's
Oh.
just, yeah. it's
That's
just-
milk. Yeah.
And like, I don't know, man. It's a scary, like, I mean, honestly, I just want to go mod Skyrim and hide in a cave until the whole industry implodes. Like, go find find all my Skyrim waifus and just hang out in a cave and do naughty things to them.
You could just go back into the past.
Did you print out a save icon, Dave? Is that a 3D printed save icon?
Anyway, and then depending on what whoever you're looking at,
Mad Doom Code.
Switch 2 could be 10th generation. It could be a part of this generation. It's depending on who you're looking at.
What's
But yeah, okay. So ultimately, guys, thank you for hanging out and doing this for so long. It's been fun. It's been a fun convo.
Yeah.
Who won?
Who did win?
Yeah.
I mean, the 5th generation takes 4 votes.
Yeah.
So what is that? That's the PlayStation
PlayStation
64.
1 and 64, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that generation
PS1, yeah.
is considered by the couch as the greatest generation. And it
Yeah.
probably is. Like, it's the biggest
It's
war
a turn of
generation.
events, yeah.
It's a turn of
Big.
events.
It's that 2D
It's
to
the same thing I dropped in
3D.
the ear.
They're still iterating on the tech that came out
Yeah.
then.
You've still
know?
got like the great 16-bit looking kind of side scrollers, but you've also got like the first forays into like
Resident Evil.
yeah,
Yeah.
like adult scary video
Tomb Raider
games.
butt
and-
going on there.
Then you
Full
have
CD soundtracks
in
and
second
stuff.
place. It's a 3-way tie with Nintendo, the 18-bit generation, the 16-bit generation, and then the HD the PS3 360 generation.
Nice, yeah.
Wow.
It all works
All
out.
right.
Then
I'm happy with
then
that, yeah.
I'm happy with
third
that.
place would be the PS2 generation because Dave and I both voted, and then
Mhm.
PS4, Xbox. Jared voted for that. So,
Because I'm still in it, and most of you guys aren't.
but yeah, so I think that's good though. PlayStation 1. I mean, it's funny because when I first played PS2 and I played Metal Gear Solid 2 for the first time, and I loved that game so much, I did go back and buy PlayStation 2 could play PS1 games, so I went back and played Metal Gear Solid for the first time. I played the first Gran Turismo. I played the first. I played Castlevania Symphony of the Night for the first time. So I played a lot of these.
compatibility.
Yeah.
I played a lot of great games. Once I got back into that generation, the PS2 generation, I went back to the other previous generation that we're calling the greatest generation, and you do see how fundamentally just important it is to video games in general.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that goes on. It's funny too. I mean, a lot of games came out during that generation, and
Yeah.
anyway, Well, we did it. We figured it out.
Sometimes.
Woo!
PlayStation, N64, Sega Saturn to a lesser degree are your greatest consoles of the greatest generation.
All time.
And that's what the couch. That's what we decided. So you can write us in our emails and write us shitty emails or you can't find us on Facebook anymore. I killed that. Well, we got a lot of views tonight. No comments though. No one wants to fight with us. All right, that's cool.
Apple Pippin.
That's because we're right.
That's right, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, I got
Absolutely.
Should have opened that back up actually. Anyway, we won't do any couch co-ops. We won't do any of that random shit just because we've been going on for so late. But any final thoughts as we wrap this up? Was this a fun episode? Did you guys enjoy it? Was it too much? I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I mean, this is the first of the 50, so
Yeah.
very long discussion, and everyone got a little piece of nostalgia. And
Yeah. Some good
what, we got
memories.
2 hours? This is a big one.
Some good memories for most of these generations, to be quite honest.
Oh, yeah.
Not old enough to remember the first, but every other one, it's like, yeah, I've played
Oh,
systems.
yeah. I'm sure I could really dig back to lots of different memories, specifics, and all that stuff. I mean, video games kind of bring that out. It's like, the nostalgia bug hits, and it's not just because it's a game you're playing. It's what's going on around you. It's always kind of been part of more than kind of been part of my life, but I've found appreciation in each generation in its own way.
I mean, it's all been fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I love it.
I've been there for it all.
I love trying to find ways to force Dave to play games in this generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
You won't have to.
Let's wrap it up. I want to thank Jared, Dave, Scott, and Aaron for joining me here on the couch for Couch Co-op. I want to remember you to please, well, before I say anything, this is the first of 50 episodes as we march down to the finish line.
50.
We're gonna do some more fun things. This is a different episode. We're gonna do some other different things, but some episodes will be stupid and the same. But whatever. But I want to remember, check us out on all the platforms. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Spotify. Find us everywhere. But anyway, again, I want to thank Jared, Dave, Scott, and Aaron for joining me here on the couch for Couch Co-op. I remind you to please be excellent to each other. Diddle-diddle-doo!
Wild stallions.
Indeed.